I was displaced by the snap. I arrived in my apartment, and it was occupied by new people. The mother thought I was a mistress. I mean, I can understand why.
Hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I wanted to let you know not only do I create content in my YouTube channel here, Class in a Glass, but I'm also on Twitch where I play single-player games, multiplayer games. I do movie reviews, cartoon reviews, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, it would be a big help if you can check out my Patreon, where you can gain access to audio commentaries, reactions, and the ability to submit questions for my podcasts and videocasts. And all that content can be found in the links below. In the meantime, enjoy the video. We can go ahead and get into my review for Spider-Man Far From Home. But, chat, before we get into the nitty-gritty details, I need to ask you a very important question. That question being, how many of you have seen Spider-Man Far From Home, the sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming, chat, directed by John Watts, starring Tom Holland, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Samuel L. Jackson? I'm curious. Alec, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Oh, just like you're right, there's so many, like I said before, yeah, it's too much, it's overwhelming. It's just some stuff I'm not gonna be able to watch. Oh, we watched it for the review. I'm keeping you on task. Oh, for the love of God, quit doing Rosemary Harris, Marissa Tomei. I will not stop. Everybody loves my Aunt May voice, Dark Slayer. I'm sorry you don't like it. Honestly, I saw this in the theaters around the same time. I started watching it. Whoa, that's fucking nuts. Look at that. Castface says, nope, that's right. Well, Castface, I will tell you the tale of Spider-Man Far From Home. You won't even need to see the movie. You'll be all caught up in preparation for No Way Home, so don't you worry. Spock, here's Spock. Greetings and salutations. Hope you're living long and prospering, good sir. I like this one more. You know what? It's funny because people bounce back. I know people that like this one more. I know people that like Homecoming. I'm a person, I prefer Homecoming, but I still really like Far From Home. I'll explain why. There's some stuff in Far From Home that kind of bothers me a little bit. It's mostly in the first act. So I think the next 2/3 of the movie, the second act and third act, are great. First third is a little rough, I think. Not even rough. It's just like there's things I'm like, all right, some of the comedy's not hitting. Some of the comedy's very hit and miss. Overall, I still think it's great. I think it's a great movie. Go back and forth, Gosnick. Love this movie, says Bill Casey. Nice. Earl McCoy says, me. Very nice. I was so hyped for this one. I didn't like as much as Homecoming, but still good. Yeah, we're pretty much, the same thing. But I still really enjoy it. So, yeah, we're pretty much almost like on the same wavelength. Giant elf, man. So this is cool. We got a nice mixed bag, chat. We got people who have seen, most people have seen it, but we do have a couple who have not seen it. So this is good, chat. Well, I was really excited for this movie, like a lot of people, chat. Well, like most people, I would say. I've always, from after his appearance in Civil War, and of course, Spider-Man's appearance in Civil War, and then Homecoming, I was like, yes, this is my live-action Spider-Man, chat. Tom Holland is my Spider-Man, and when they announced Far From Home, I was like, ooh, it's a school trip. That's great. He's on summer vacation. And it's a school trip, and Spider-Man going international, which he has done occasionally. He's now always been in New York. It's like, that's really cool. That'll add a little visual variety. That's neat. And the thing that got me real excited, I'm sure got a lot of people excited, was the announcement that Jake Gyllenhaal was going to star as Mysterio, chat. Quentin Beck. Is he a warrior from another dimension, chat, an Earth that was destroyed by the elementals? Or is he a fucking fraud? We'll find out. We'll find out. I'll go into. I remember that was like a big spoiler. It's like, wait, is Mysterio? Is he really a hero from another dimension? Is this the star of the multiverse, or is he just some asshole that tricks everybody? Even though it's kind of what he is in the comics. I mean, it's funny because this movie is very much based off of his first appearance, and like various other adaptations we've gotten of him, where he's always posed like, no, I'm a hero. I'm fighting all these threats and these monsters and these super criminals and things. And Spider-Man's like, that guy's fucking lying. No, he's not. Israel's like, shut up. Yes, I am. And then eventually Spider-Man, of course, exposes him. He's like, I'll get my vengeance on you, Spider-Man. And, he's been a member of the Sinister Six. He's joined other organizations. I think Mysterio's been weird in the comics because he's gone back and forth of people like treating him like super seriously and other times like being a joke. Because honestly, I mean, look at his appearance. He's got a giant fishbowl for a head. He's got the green tights and the gold armor and the purple cape. Like his design is very busy. There's a lot to him. But I've always liked it. I was like, they've really leaned into the ridiculousness of this particular character. Because when you think of a lot of Spider-Man villains, they're very animal themed, like Doc Ock and Scorpion and, Rhino, of course, a Vulture. And so I like that we had a villain that definitely had like, well, okay, you really do stand out amongst the crowd of rogues in Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery, chat. I always thought his look was really, really cool and inspired and original. And he's very ostentatious because in the comics, Mysterio is a special effects expert. He's an illusionist. He's an actor. And I was like, oh, of course he would want to stand out from everybody else. He's a fucking narcissist. And I'm so happy that the movie really focused on Mysterio's and Mysterio and Quentin Beck's narcissism, because that is just so inherent and a very important personality trait to the character. I thought that was great. I absolutely love Jake Gyllenhaal in this role, what they do with him. And, I mean, they could eventually bring him back, chat, as an illusion, as a hologram. I was like, oh, it'd be so fucking clever. Of course he would still be around as a hologram. But yeah, the movie came out, and it was, again, commercial and critical success. It was the first Spider-Man film to cross $1 billion, chat, $1.1 billion to be exact. Just reaffirming that Tom Holland is the live-action Spider-Man of the future. Is he the only one? We shall see, chat. But this, again, it was just another film that I really loved. Some issues with it in terms of like the first act and some of the comedy bits. Again, very hit and miss. But the second, third act, great. And it has an incredible ending, which is, obviously catapults us to the next Spider-Man movie. A great setup to No Way Home, chat, and the fallout over Spider-Man's identity, Peter Parker's identity. So I absolutely love it, chat. I'm very much a big fan. He's also he is. He's a piece of shit. Mysterio, like, I love it that we're Vulture. Like, Vulture, he's a blue-collar villain. And it's like, he has a code. He's like, yeah, he's killed people. He's put people a lot in danger. But it's like, I do understand you. Like, I understand your motivations. They make sense. You may have these good intentions, but it's just hurting a lot of people. And Peter's like, you can't do this. You got to stop. And so Vulture's an honorable villain. Mysterio's the opposite of that. Mysterio, his whole thing is, I'm just going to lie to everyone, and so I can enrich myself and enrich my team, which I love that he has a crew in this movie, and make myself the greatest superhero this world has ever seen. That's what he's all about. And he's so obsessed with himself, but everything else that he has is a facade, which is so perfect for the character because it's an illusion. His altruism, his origin story, his compassion is one of his illusions. And I thought, oh, that's great. And how he manipulates Peter is wonderful. Chandler, you're hoping like, no, he's so great, he's so positive. This is the role model Peter needs. He's like, no, he's not. He's just a piece of shit, which I think is great. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio. Remind me at the end of your review about this rumor I want to ask if you have heard of. I want to spoil before you've written. No problem, man. We will do that. We'll do just that. But my friends, and of course, John Watts returned to direct this movie. A lot of the other returning actors, of course, from the previous films. Like some of them get expanded roles. They have a little more to do. Darkslayer, thank you for the 2 minutes. Mysterio is that asshole who takes credit for other people's work. Yeah, exactly is that. He's exactly that. Is that. And he hates Tony Stark. This does continue the criticism that's like, God, Tony is way too connected to Tony. But that never has ever bothered me. I always like that, fucking Peter is just dealing with the fallout of everything that Tony Stark has done throughout his life. He keeps, even in death, he's making supervillains, which is nuts. And I love the real true origin of Mysterio in this movie, Quentin Beck. I was like, oh, it makes so much sense. It's a little treat for those of us who've seen a previous Marvel movie. It's like, oh my fucking God. It's great. It's fucking great, chap. I once thought he was a good. Some people were like, we don't know. I mean, just in the time, if you read the comics, you was like, okay, this guy's a lying piece of shit. But at the same time, Marvel's being very coy about that kind of thing. With a marketing campaign. Like they're being coy now about everything. But yeah, it was a huge commercial critical success, and it continued to showcase what a great job the MCU has done with Spider-Man, in my personal opinion, Sharon. I'm a big fan of this. Everyone hates Tony Stark. That's true. I mean, I get it. He is smarmy. He's a dick. and he screwed over a lot of people, and that creates a lot of supervillains. I mean, he's created so many villains. It's nuts. We'll see if that continues to happen throughout the. I'm sure it will. I'm sure there'll be some additional follow for maybe another character, maybe not Spider-Man anymore, maybe for someone else. Wouldn't be surprised, Chad. There will be an Iron, probably Rhodey. Rhodey's got to probably deal with some follow after for Armored Wars and stuff that's coming up, his Netflix series. But, Chad, I told you my appreciation, love for this movie, and other people's appreciation, love for this movie. Let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty details. We start with Nick Fury and Agent Hill, and they're in Mexico, chat. Nick Fury, he doesn't know what the fuck's going on. Samuel L. Jackson, he is confused. He's been gone for 5 years, chat. He was snapped, and now he's been brought back, okay? He knew everything, and now he knows nothing, and there's this new threat going down in Mexico, and no, it is not a drug cartel, chat. No, it's a giant sand monster, which I kind of feel like, is this supposed to be Sandman? Maybe a Sandman elemental? Him and Maria Hill arrive at this Mexican town that has been devastated, chat. And Maria Hill's like, listen, Nick, I know this is a tragedy and all, but, you know, fuck the poors. Who cares? And he's like, listen, Maria, I'm usually on your side, but there's more to this than just a whole bunch of poor people being decimated. This cyclone that came through here, they said it had a face. And she's like, well, I guess that is a little unusual. He goes, yeah, and we have to make sure to find out what's going on. And boom, Mysterio shows up. Jake Gyllenhaal, Mysterio, he comes down, fish globe and all. And he turns off his fish globe, and he's like, who are you guys? And they're like, pull their guns, and they're like, whoa, you are all bedazzled. He's like, yeah, I love it. Don't I look good? And all of a sudden, Chad, the Sandman elemental erupts from behind them in like a house, and it starts killing a whole bunch of other S.H.I.E.L.D. agents and poor people. And Jake Gyllenhaal, he's like, you guys don't want any part of this. And he shoots out magic fart gas. I love that, like, you know, Mysterio, his main, it looks like his power is just like fart gas initially. It's so cool. They made farts. Mysterio makes farts look cool. So he shoots out his fart gas, chat, and then boom, we have Whitney Houston singing, I will always love you. Yeah. Because, chat, Tony Stark is dead. This takes place after Endgame. I love that it is the news reports version of a montage. And of course, you know, they have Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You play in the background, Comic Sans. And they get all this really shitty looking, low resolution, low pixel art of like Tony and Captain America, Steve Rogers, and Natasha Romanoff's, you know, Black Widow. And all putting up there, and you see fucking doves and shit, and Betty Brant comes on, and Jason comes on. Dark Side of the Two Babies, don't you insult when he's, I'm not insulted, I'm just telling you, that's what fucking happens. That's what happens. But they come on, they saying like gone but not forgotten, and I like this because they catch us up on what happened after Hulk snapped the Infinity Gauntlet and brought everybody back. And so they're saying that 5 years ago, most of us were snapped out of existence. And it was crazy. And they show this footage of like handheld footage of like people in this gymnasium where suddenly they're vanishing during it's a band. It's like band practice, and all the band people start vanishing and people in the stands start vanishing. It's like, oh, it's a nightmare. It's horrible. And then 5 years later, like the band, they all show up immediately, like where they were, like the middle of a basketball game, and tripping over all the basketball players, Chad. They punched the tuba guy by accident. It's crazy. And they call it the blip. That's what they call it, Chad. So we have the snap and we have the blip. And students who are like our underclassmen, they're now just as old as us, and they're hot. So you remember little fucking Brad Wilkins, whoever the hell his name is? He was that snot-nosed kid who would cry every time he got a nosebleed. Well, now he's some thick man meat that everyone's lusting after. And Jason can't believe this. This shit was fucking crazy. And Betty's like, Jason, you can't swear. That's not good. He's like, I'm sorry, but it's the truth, okay? I'm giving people honest journalism right here, Betty. My younger brother is now my older brother. Shit's messed up. And we have to restart the school year. We got to repeat this year, and it sucks. And she's like, well, that's true. That does suck. It's not fun. But what are you going to do? And then we cut chat, and Tom's still horny. He's still horny, and he still loves the caramel chocolate chat because he sits down next to Ned, and he's like, Ned, he's like, oh, how you doing, Peter? And it also explains, like, why all these actors, like, are the same age because, like, they all got blipped. So Ned got blipped, Peter got blipped, Betty got blipped, Flash Thompson or snapped, I should say. And they all came back in the blip, which again, it's like, well, that's a coincidence that all these people, got snapped and everyone else, who cares about those other characters? I'm like, that's fine. I don't mind that, little convenient storytelling bit right there. It's okay. I'm not going to hold them like, well, that is dumb. Some people should have looked. I was like, come on. That does not bother me. But he sits down. He's like, Ned, I'm still really horny. But Liz Allen or Liz Toombs, her dad is Bird Dad. And I have now moved on to Mary Jane or Michelle, I guess, who just calls her MJ. And I got this whole thing planned out, Ned. He's like, what's the plan, Peter? And he's like, listen, as you know, we're going to go on that summer vacation trip to Europe because we're all the smart kids. We did real good in school. He's like, true. And so I got this whole thing planned out. When we go to Italy, I'm going to buy her this medallion shaped like the Black Dahlia. And he's like, because of the murders. Yes, because of the murders, because she loves the murders. And I'm going to give this to her when we go to Paris and we're standing in the Eiffel Tower. And then I'm going to kiss her. And he says, do you think she'll kiss you back? He's like, I hope so. Otherwise, it's going to be really awkward. But then fucking MJ's walking over to him, and Peter's like, Ned, act natural. And she walks over, she's like, hey, how you doing, dorks? And they're like, oh, MJ, we're just, talking about the trip and the plan. And Ned's like, and Peter's plan. And she's like, Ned, shut up. And she's like, what's the plan? And he's like, oh, he's, preparing for the trip and how excited he is to go to Europe and see all the sights. And she's like, oh, all right, well, if you guys want to talk later, let me know. And he goes, of course, MJ, of course. But Ned's upset. He's like, Peter, I thought we're going to go there and be like eligible American bachelors. As you know, Europeans love Americans. Peter's like, I don't think that's true, Ned. He's like, no, they love us. They love us. They love our superiority. They love our big brains, our smarter intelligence. And he's like, I don't think that's true at all. And he's like, what do you know? You know nothing, Spider-Man. But Peter, he's really excited about this, chap. But he's got other responsibilities, and he has to attend a fundraiser at Feast, which is really cool, chat. Are we possibly going to see the debut of Mr. Negative, chat, who is a new Spider-Man villain created in the last 10 years, made his debut in the 616 comics? I think that'd be really cool for the new trilogy if they bring in Mr. Negative, which I think has gotten a lot more mainstream appeal since he was one of the main villains in the Spider-Man 2018 video game. I think that'd be cool. Martin Lee, I believe his name is Martin Lee. So that'd be awesome. But he's there, Chad. He's in full costume regalia. And we have Aunt May. And she's back and still looking hot. She's got a new dress on, Chad. And she is one of the, she's an employee of Feast, Chat. This fundraising thing that has been helping the homeless of New York City, but also displaced people from the snap and the blip, chat. And she's like,
as some of you know, I was displaced by the snap. I arrived in my apartment, and it was occupied by new people. The mother thought I was a mistress. I mean, I can understand why. And the grandmother thought I was a ghost. But I told Peter I'm not a ghost. And I have dedicated my life for the last, I think they say like 18 months, the last 18 months to helping people like yourselves. And we have raised over $300,000. And we are only $200,000 away from our ultimate goal. And I want to thank Spider-Man. He's here to help us raise money.
And Spider-Man's like, hi, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. Go Feast.
Great job, Spider-Man. He'll be right back to take pictures and sign autographs.
And so then they go in the back. And Peter's like, whoo, that was awesome.
She's like, you did really well, Peter.
He's like, thank you, Aunt May. Thank you. I wasn't like awkward.
You are awkward. You are very awkward. Your body is still flowering, Peter, like mine did.
And he's like, all right. Thank you, Aunt May. And then who comes a knocking, Chad? Who comes in with a big, giant check for $500, Chad, from Pepper Potts Stark? Happy. Good old Happy Hogan, Chad. Good old, John Favreau. He walks in, and he's like, hi, sorry, traffic was really bad, and no one knew where the check was, even though it was very comically large.
He's like, Happy, good to see you.
He goes, oh, hi, May. Oh, is that a new dress? You look really nice.
He goes, oh, it is a new dress, Happy. Is that a new beard you have?
He goes, yeah, it's my blip beard. I grew it during the blip.
Wow. It looks very dashing on you, Happy.
And Peter's like, what the fuck is going on here? What's happening here? Happy's like, been talking to May a lot.
We've been talking, Peter. And he's like, all right. She's like, I'll be right back. I need to take care of the people outside.
And so she goes outside. He's like, okay, we got to talk about what the fuck's going on there. But Happy's like, later. Nick Fury's going to call you. He's like, excuse me? Nick Fury is going to call you in the next few minutes. He's like, why is Nick Fury going to call me? He's like, I don't know. You're the heir apparent, to Tony Stark. I'm not sure, man. He just told me that he's going to call you, or someone told me that he's going to call you. I don't want to talk to him. He's very scary. And Peter's like, I don't really want to talk to Nick Fury, but I want to talk to him. He makes me nervous. And then he hears a little ring-a-ding-ding on his cell phone, and Peter picks it up, and it says caller ID unknown, and that's his caller ID. That's him. You wouldn't know it was Nick Fury. And Peter's like, I'm not going to answer. He's like, you can't hang up on Nick Fury. He's like, and boop. And Peter fucking hangs up on Nick Fury, chat. And John Favreau's like, you ghosted Nick Fury. You don't ghost Nick Fury. Peter's like, I just did, Happy. Don't fuck my aunt. Stop fucking my aunt. And then he goes outside to mingle with the rest of the crowd. While Happy, he gets a call from Nick Fury. He's like, I'm sorry, sir. I don't know why he ghosted you. Please stop yelling at me. You're so scary when you yell at me. But he's out there. He's like, hi, everybody. So happy to be here with Feast. Great job, May Parker.
Thank you, Spider-Man.
And he's like, do you guys have any questions? And the whole crowd starts asking him. It's like, so are you going to be taking over for Tony Stark? Are you the new Iron Man? He's like, no, I'm Spider-Man. And he's like, so are you going to be the new leader of the Avengers? Are you an official Avenger? He's like, no, I'm not a leader of Avengers. No, we don't really know who the leader of Avengers is at this point, which is a good question. And I'm not an official member. No. It's like, so how did you feel? How did you feel when he died? And he's like, I gotta go. And he gets out of there, Chad. He webs up. He gets out of Feast, and then he's right outside, and he's like, okay, I need a breather. So I don't have to just think about Tony. I loved him, but the last thing I need is to think about him because I'm going through so many things. I'm horny all the time. I don't know what's happening. My body's flowering. And he looks immediately to his right, and there's this giant fucking mural graffitied on the wall of Iron Man. He's like, oh, God damn it. He can't escape it, chat. He can't escape it. Eventually, we cut, and we're at the Peter and May's apartment. They have a new apartment again, chat, since they were displaced, obviously. And he's he's getting all of his stuff ready for the trip. He's packing his clothes, getting his toothbrush, getting his toothpaste, getting his deodorant, chat, getting his undies. And then Aunt May's like, here's a banana, Peter. And she throws a banana at him. And it hits him in the face. He's like, ow! She's like, I'm sorry, Peter. I thought you would know I was throwing a banana at you. And he's like, why? Why would you think that, May? You have the Peter tingle now, Peter. He's like, May, can you not call it the Peter tingle, please? It's really embarrassing. This is cool because, chap, he didn't have his spider sense in Civil War or Homecoming or the two Avengers movies, because he's getting older, Chad. As his body is flowering, his powers are evolving, which I thought was really fucking cool. I like that, and he's going to change over time. I wonder if they're going to turn him into a fucking human spider abomination, Chad, like in the animated series. Remember that? When he became the man spider and he grew those 6 limbs, he looked like David Cronenberg, Jeff Goldblum abomination? I hope so, chat. But he's like, but don't call it the Peter Tingle. And she's like,
Okay, are you going to be packing your suit,
Peter? He's like, yeah, I have the shirt and tie, and I have the suit. And he's like,
Not that suit, Peter. Your Spider-Man suit. I know you're Spider-Man, and I'm so proud of you.
by the way, I am so happy that Aunt May is so passionate and excited that her nephew is Spider-Man. Like, she's so supportive of him. And, like, yes, you know, Rosemary Harris, I think, knows that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man was Spider-Man by, like, 2. And, you know, I feel like Sally Field was already figured out that Andrew Garfield was Spider-Man by, like, the end of 1. But they never said it. And I love that May and Peter are, like, so open about that and how she's so excited for him and she's encouraging him to be Spider-Man, which I think is so nice. I just think that is like, oh my God, we don't have to go through the whole fucking rigmarole of Aunt May going,
Peter, why didn't you show up to take me to the doctor, Peter?
Pierce, because I was Spider-Man, Aunt May. She goes, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. It's like now he doesn't have to lie to her. So that is so fucking refreshing. Oh, it's true, yeah. I guess Infinity War, he had the spider sense. Fair enough. You got me there, New Edition. Thanks for keeping me on task. So I guess he already had it at that point. But it's not present in Homecoming, nor is it present in Civil War. And it's still evolving, chat. The Tingle, his body is flowering, still evolving. But she's like, well, maybe you should
take your suit,
Peter. She goes, no, Aunt May, listen, I'm just going on vacation, summer vacation, and that's it.
She's like, well, if you think that's best, I'll just go ahead and die.
He's like, that's not what I'm saying, Aunt May. It's not that.
I guess my opinion doesn't matter to you, Peter.
It matters, May. It matters.
Well, okay then. Eat the banana.
And then she leaves. And he's like, I'm not going to pack my suit, but I am indeed going to pack this fucking banana, chat. Eventually, he gets his shit together, goes to Aunt May, drops him off at the airport. He boards the plane, chat. Ned and him are sitting together. Ned's just really excited because, okay, Peter, so the flight's like 9 hours. I'm going to be playing this video game that doesn't actually exist, but it's kind of like a combination League of Legends, maybe Mortal Kombat. Like, who fucking knows what it is, but my character looks just like me. Gonna play with me for 9 hours. Peter's like, Ned, listen, I need you to help me so I'm able to sit next to MJ. I have a dual HDMI cord, Ned, or not HDMI, HD cord, and we can watch movies together and we can flirt and then potentially kiss and stuff. And he's like, that's hard, Peter. He's like, please, Ned, please. And he's like, all right, because he sees Brad wanting to sit next to MJ, and the last thing he wants is that little snot-nosed shit Brad to be sitting next to her. And so Ned gets up, and he goes over to MJ and Betty, who's sitting there, and he's like, hey, Betty, listen, Peter has like a perfume allergy, and there's this really old lady who's like definitely possibly going to die, and it's just really affecting his allergies. He's like breaking out and stuff. So could you switch with Peter? That'd be good. And she goes, okay. But right before that's about to happen, Martin Starr is there. Martin Starr is there, Chad. He's the teacher from the last movie. He's also accompanied by J.B. Smoove. J.B. Smoove is very concerned about witches. He writes many novels about that witches are real. And in hindsight, he was right. There are witches. He was thought, oh, J.B. Smoove, you're stupid. There's no witches. But no, he was right in hindsight. And that's the thing. That's the thing about it, where I think I like J.B. Smoove a lot. I think he's hilarious in a lot of things, and also in Curb Your Enthusiasm. But I think he's dual headphone adapter. Also, Betty and Ned are an adorable. They are. I agree with you. Hey, babe. No doubt about that. Yeah, dual headphone adapter. Thank you for the 2 minutes, by the way. But I think I just a lot of the stuff between Martin Starr and J.B. Smoove. You know what? When I first saw it, I was like, I'm not really digging this. But I watched this movie again recently. I was like, yeah, I kind of like it. It's kind of fun. It doesn't always fit though, but it's very hit and miss at this part of the movie. But Martin Starr hears this and it's like, Peter has a perfume allergy. Well, I will change. We'll go ahead and change everyone around. So at this point, Betty, you stay where you are. MJ, you go over there. Brad, and go sit next to MJ right there. And I'll go ahead and I'll be with Peter, or I'll go and have Peter come over here with me. And, Peter's like, no! And so Peter just sits down next to Martin Starr, who talks about his sad, pathetic fucking life, where it's like, did I ever tell you that my wife faked her death during the snap? She actually was alive. She just married someone else. We had a funeral for her and everything. I have the video right here. Do you want to watch it? Oh, good. You have a dual headphone adapter. We can watch it together. And he's like, oh, as he sees Brad and MJ hanging out. And also, it's a good scene where Flash, he gets like a first class seat, and he's talking shit to Peter and Ned, and he's like, so this Peter Parker is called an airplane, and this vehicle is what flies over all the poor houses where you live. And MJ's like, fuck you, Flash, ma'am, he's not actually 21, he got snapped, okay, and he's brought back via the VLIP, and he's like, no, and they all take his alcohol. He's like, damn you, MJ. Very funny scene. But then also, chat, while Peter is just frustrated over this whole situation, we see Ned and Betty start to bond. And Ned's like, well, hi, Betty, do you like video games? She's like, no, I don't like video games. And he's like, okay, I'm just going to play video games. But Chad, as the plane ride continues, as emotions start to rise, and the horniness increases, chat, Ned and Betty become a couple, chat. Like, there's one point where the plane is kind of like shaking and stuff. He's like, whoa. And he grabs her hand, and they look in each other's eyes, and it's like, that's when you know true love just fucking blossomed, chat. Martin Starr, he passes the fuck out on Peter. At one point, he's like, well, I'm going to go up to the bathroom. This is annoying. He goes to the bathroom, chat, and MJ's like, well, I'm going to wait until he gets out because I got to use the bathroom. He steps out. He goes, go, girl. And she's just like, what? He goes back in the bathroom and, like, starts to clean it. Like, oh, God, she can't see all my shit stains. He's cleaning all the shit stains out there, chat, because he's so paranoid. She thinks that those are his shit stains. And maybe they were his shit stains, chat. I'm not sure. I don't know. But he cleans it, and Mary Jane's like, I'm just going to leave. And he gets out of there, and who's there? Brad. And he's like, hi, Pete. And he's like, I hate you, Brad. And he walks back to his seat. Eventually, they land, chat. And they're going through security. You know, Peter, he puts up his fucking suitcase, and they're checking. He's like, don't worry, man. There's nothing illegal in there, nothing bad. She opens it up, and the fucking Spider-Man suit is there, chat. And what do we see? A little note, and it's from Aunt May. You forgot your other suit, Peter. Winky smiley face. And he's like, oh. And the airport, you know, the TSA agent looks at it, and she goes, he takes the banana, and she's like, you can't bring this in. And then she closes the case, and she gives it back to him. He's like, great. No name woman, thank you so much for the activities. I hope everyone is great. I know everyone, thank you for stopping by. I do appreciate it. Have a great night as well. Sleep well, too. Well, it's Venture Welcome Machine. I just saw you right there. Newsy Ducky, lots of fun. Good to see you. Where they're going through airport security. And this is fun because you don't notice it on the first or second or third rewatch, but all of Jake Gyllenhaal's team is there. They're all in the background, chat, in various scenes. You actually see Jake Gyllenhaal, he's in the background looking at Peter the whole time. And so you really get to see, like, how long he's been involved in, like, his scheme. Like, okay, I got to get this shit from Peter. I know what I need to do. But yeah, he's in the background the entire time when they're walking through the airport. And also when we finally get to the first action scene in Venice, before like Hydra Man shows up or the elemental Hydra Man, you see the team in the background. You just don't, but there's no like, whoa, we're gonna hang a beat on this guy because there's something up with it. Like, no, you don't. Like, you wouldn't notice any of them unless people pointed them out to you. It's like, oh, that is so fucking cool. I thought that was so neat. But yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal's in this scene. But they're walking to the airport, and Peter's, like, just frustrated. And by the way, still Tony Stark shit everywhere. Like, you know, rest in peace. And, like, at one point when he was on the plane, he was going through the movies, and it's all documentaries, which is cool. They have one documentary called Wakanda Forever, which is about Wakanda. They have another one, I think, with Stellan Skarsgård talking about Thor. And then there's another one, a biography film about Tony Stark, Iron Man. He's like, fuck, I can't get over. I can't escape this. This is horrible. They're walking to the airport, and, you know, Peter's, you know, asked by Ned, it's like, Peter, how's the flight? He's like, how do you fucking think it was? It was awful. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, man. And then Betty comes over. He's like, how you doing, babe? He's like, I'm doing good, babe. And he's like, what was that? And he goes, oh, yeah, me and Betty were talking to each other. We find out that we actually have a lot in common. And he's like, what happened to being, like, you know, American bachelors in Europe? And he's like, listen, Peter, when I was on that flight, when I first boarded that plane, I was but a boy. And when I exited that plane, I was a man, Peter. He's like, Jesus Christ, Peter cannot win, chat. That Peter Parker luck. Always making him strike out. And he's like, all right, whatever. And so they all go ahead. and they get into their gondola, chat, because they're in Venice. They're in Venice, Italy. The city is sinking into the water, chat. They get in there. We get to see some shots and everything. And eventually they get to their hotel, and it's a piece of fucking shit hot hotel where Martin Starr's like, it seemed good on the website. And JB Smooth's like, you suck, Martin Starr. You're sad, and that's why your wife left you. Oh. And then we get this montage. We get this amazing montage, chat, of because they say like, all right, guys, so we're all going to go to the museum at this time, but this will give you enough time to go out and experience Venice on your own. And so we see sad sack Martin Starr like trying to take a picture, but he drops his fucking camera in the water, and his whole trip is just him being pathetic, chat. It's like Jesus. But we see, MJ hanging out with Brad, and like she's being like attacked by pigeons, and he defends her. It's like, thank God. Ned and Betty, they're doing things with each other. And Peter, he's like, well, I'm going to go get the Black Dahlia medallion from this, merchant and in Venice. So he goes to the bazaar, chat, there. He's like, excuse me, sir, excuse me. And he's like, what are you buying? What are you selling? And he's like, well, I'm not selling anything. I'm not going to sell my body to you, but I would like to buy a Black Dahlia. Ooh, that's a good one. And so he sells them the Black Dahlia medallion. And he's like, excellent. I got my little Black Dahlia medallion. Can't wait to give it to MJ when we get to Paris, which apparently they're going to Paris like tomorrow. Jesus, how do you do that? I'm going from one place to the other. That's a lot. That's a lot. It's moving very quickly. But as he's walking, and by the way, again, completely in the background, we always, Mysterio's team is there. And I love that. It's like, wow, you just don't notice them on multiple rewatchers the first time, because you're like, oh, they're just ordinary people. Except Ralphie from Christmas Story, you notice him. But I love it. Like, his whole team is there, and they're looking at Peter the whole time. I was like, that is fucking cool. I really like that. Because a lot of people, like in S.H.I.E.L.D., including Nick Fury, have been working with Beck this time, and he's been talking to Beck about Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Nice little touch. Blessing Game is good to see you. Hope you're doing very well. I did start the review a little early, man, but I'm happy to have you here. You came in just in the beginning, the first act. But he's walking, and suddenly MJ shows up. She's like, hey, Pete. She's like, hey, dork. And he's like, oh, MJ. Oh, hi. How you doing? She goes, I just discovered the best word ever, bun. And he's like, what's bun? She's like, bun can mean anything. Bun can mean shut the fuck up. Bun means get out of my face. Bun means I don't care. Bun means everything, Peter. Bun is my life. And he's like, that's really cool. And this one guy walks up to her and he offers her like a rose, like, buy this rose, woman. And she's like, bun. And he's like, and he runs away. He's like, wow, it works. She goes, yeah, man, it's pretty fucking cool. But all of a sudden, Peter gets a little bit of that Peter tingle, chat, and he notices the water. There looks to be something in the water, and the water's receding, and all these little CGI crabs start crawling out of the water onto the wharf on the docks. And then she's like, cool, crabs. And she's like, she loves fucking crabs. She's like, look, Peter, they're crawling everywhere. And she's like taking pictures, and he's like, uh-huh. And then he sees like something massive moving in the water, and it goes in the middle of the waterway, chat, of the river, and it's just dead quiet. And then boom, and it just erupts into the air, chat, and we see gondolas being smashed and people being sucked under the water and exploding. He's like, oh my god. We see Ned and Betty as their gondola is just catapulted out of the river, chat. They're fine though, don't worry. Ned and Betty are okay. But Peter runs over with MJ at this point to get him out of the gondola, and Peter's like, you guys, you gotta go this way, man. Ned, make sure that they get out of here, okay? He's like, Peter, are you gonna fight the giant Hydro Man? And he's like, I don't have my suit. And he's like, why don't you have your suit? I'm on fucking vacation. I didn't know Water Hydro Man was going to show up. And he's like, just protect yourselves. And Peter's like panicking. He's like, okay, what am I going to do? And he starts, hopscotching around Venice, chat, on the docks and everything, finds himself a little jester mask. And he's like shooting his webbing into this thing, but he's like, fuck, water is stronger than webbing. What am I going to do? And then all of a sudden, chat, everyone starts looking up. They're like, what's that? And we see Mysterio, or this mysterious fishbowl-headed individual, come down and start blasting magic fart gas at Hydro Man, chat, which I thought is really cool. And Peter's like, who the hell is that guy? And eventually climbs up on top of a building as as Mysterio like blasts him with a big fart, key blast, like Kamehameha. And, Peter starts yelling at him. It's like, excuse me, sir, if you need any help, I can help you. I'm very sticky, which is such a great line. He's like, stay back, citizen. Don't put yourself in harm's way. As he could use a battle Hydro Man. And they go throughout Venice and just destroying like a shit ton of buildings and everything. We cut to Martin Starr and JB Smoove as they're going to the museum of a whole bunch of students. And they go there and the fucking museum's closed. And JB Smoove's like, did you check the website? Did you check the website to see if it was closed until like November? He goes, well, that would have been a good idea. And then boom, Hydro Man and Mysterio come in, Chad, and they're still battling each other. And the kids are all being sucked into the water and they're all dead. They're all dying, Chad. Eventually, they're like, we got to take cover. We got to take cover in this square where we see Mysterio and Hydro Man just staring off each other. He's just firing more fart gas. Hydro Man's firing more water blasts and stuff. It's like fart v water, if you will, chat. Eventually, Peter, he notices that all the destruction has caused this one bell tower to start to collapse. He's like, fuck! And so he swings up there. He starts like webbing it, chat, starting to pull it together, but the thing's tipping over as the battle's progressing. He's holding it, then the ball hits his head on the bell. Ball hits his head on the bell again. And eventually, he slowly lowers the bell to the ground. And crushing it. Like, all get out of the way, and boom, it falls, and he's exhausted, and he watches Mysterio give one super duper magic fart blast into Hydro Man. Actually, what he does is like he summons this one portal in front of him while he summons like another portal in back of him, and the power of just rips Hydro Man apart, chat, until he's dead. Everyone's like, whoa, thank you, Fishbowl Guy. And he's like, yes, citizens, you're very welcome. Happy to save a day. I'll see you next time. And he flies away via the power of magic fart. Thank you. Thank you so much. Who is this new follower, chat? Trinity, thank you for the follow. You're my new Huckleberry, my new Grinch. I hope you're having a very nice evening. Currently, we're doing a review for Spider-Man Far From Home. We just finished the battle between Mysterio, Hydro Man, quotation marks, and Spider-Man. It was quite fun. Quite fun. Eventually, they all come back to the hotel. Everyone's on their phone. Everyone's watching the news. And everyone's kind of like freaking out. At one point, Peter, he gets on the payphone. He's talking to Aunt May, and Aunt May's like, you should be happy I packed your Spider-Man outfit, Peter. Why weren't you wearing it during the battle? He's like, Aunt May, I'm on vacation. I didn't ask you to pack it, okay? I'm not a kid anymore. You don't need to pack my stuff. I've been packing your clothes since you were a little toddler, Peter. I can't help it. I love you. And he's like, I love you too, Aunt May. I love you too. And then she's like, oh, I wasn't talking to you, Happy, at least not right now. She's like, who's there? Aunt May, who's there? And he's like, oh, Peter, Happy came by the feast offices these last couple of days, and he's been helping me. And he's like, uh-huh. And she's like, here, Peter, Happy, come over here. Happy's like, but I'm eating. And he's like, come over here. Talk to Peter. Say hello to him. He's like, hi, Peter. And he's like, hi, Happy. What are you doing there? He's like, oh, I've just been taking care of your aunt in a non-sexual way. That's not true. I got to go, Peter. And she's like, and this is so funny. Because and this is like, I'm exaggerating this detail, but when Happy says that, I've been taking care of your aunt, I mean, I've been delivering a lot of flyers. I'm doing a lot of stuff for her. And then she literally winks at him and goes, and so they are indeed fucking shit. I'm happy for Happy, chat. Happy for Happy, because he deserves something. He deserves Marissa Tomei. And then I'm like, John Watts, you fucking dog, because she turns around and she's wearing these super tight jeans that just show off her ass, Chad. I see what you did, John Watts. I see what you did. And he's like, yeah, Happy is very happy. He wants some of that May pie. Who doesn't want some of that? And then she's like, you take care, Peter, while Happy takes care of me. He goes, please, Aunt May, please, don't talk about that. And he hangs up. Not because anything too honestly, Happy's a better father figure. He is. He absolutely is. No, fucking Happy. Jon Favreau kills it in this movie. I'm really glad that they expand upon his character in all these films and made him another father figure, another confidant for Peter in these movies. And I also assume in in No Way Home. So very, very excited about that. Dude, she just posted on Instagram. Yeah. yeah, you know it. You fucking know it. She still looks good. She looks awesome. I love young, hot Aunt May, chat. But, he walks over and everyone's watching the news where they're talking about the battle between the fishbowl guy and Hydra Man. And everyone's, like, looking at they see the cryon. And it says, some boppity boopy language chat, some boppity boopy Italian. It says Mysterio, and there's like, oh, they're calling him Mysterio. That's his name. And MJ's like, no. That just means that's just the Cryon saying mysterious man fights water monster. And fucking Ned and Betty are like, Mysterio, I like it, neat. And they go, oh babe, we said the same thing. Isn't that cute? It is really cute, but. We have Flash Thompson, and he's like, yeah, I mean, the Mysterio guy, he's pretty cool and everything, but Spider-Man would have kicked that guy's ass no problem. I mean, that's my boy. And MJ's like, what's with you and Spider-Man, Flash? He goes like, I just fucking like him, man. I mean, he's very down to earth. He's grounded. He's watching out for the neighborhoods, watching out for us. He makes me want to be a better person. And then he looks over at Peter and goes, oh, how you doing, dickwad? I thought you drowned. He's like, thanks, Flash. Good to be here. After that, Ned and Peter, they head back upstairs, and Ned's like, "Oh, that was fucking crazy with that Mysterio guy and that Hydro monster." Oh, they'll also mention, I think, they're like Flash is reading like a conspiracy theory about him, which I think is from like the Daily Bugle, and he goes on about how it's this one individual who was exposed to a hydro electronic experiment or something, and it's like the actual name of Hydra, which I forget off the top of my head. I think it's William Birch or something like that. I thought that was pretty cool. Oh yeah, JB Smooth's like, you know what my opinion is on all this? Witches. To my scientific opinion, witches. Which be fair, chat. He is right. Witches do exist in the MCU. He was not wrong. Morris Bench. That's it. I was completely off. Morris Bench. That's it. Morris. What a name. But eventually Peter and Ned, they go upstairs, and he's like, so are you going to investigate this Mysterio guy and this Hydro Man monster? He's like, Ned, I'm on vacation. It's the last thing I want to do right now. And okay, I still want to really get with MJ, and I really want to experience what you and Betty have. He's like, oh, I understand that, Peter. I mean, when I first fell in love, it was just after I finished my fruit cobbler, and then and fucking Ned falls over because he got hit with a dart chat. Nick Fury just walked over to Ned and said, does this smell like chloroform? He's like, and he fucking goes down, chat. And Peter's like, you just chloroformed my best friend. He's like, you goddamn right I did, motherfucker. Why have you been ghosting me? And we have Samuel L. Jackson, chat, Nick Fury, and he's pissed off. He's like, sit down, Spider-Boy. He's like, okay, sir. Nick Fury, not a great mentor figure for Peter Parker. He's actually fucking horrifying. Ned got yeeted. Chloroform yeeted. And he's like, I didn't mean to ignore your call. I was just on summer vacation. He's like, let me tell you something, son. All right? 5 years ago, I knew everything. And then 5 years later, I know absolutely nothing. I'm trying to protect America and American interests. I'm trying to save the world, Peter. And I'm being ignored by a teenager. And he's like, I'm sorry, sir. I'm happy to talk to you now. He's like, goddamn right, you're happy to talk to me now. Sit your white lily ass down, Peter. He's like, okay. And he sits down, and he's like, I'm going to show you a PowerPoint presentation. He gets this out, chat, and he's like, listen. We've had constant reports around the world of these figures called the elementals. They're popping up, representatives of various elements. You see, Mexico City, there was a Sandman monster. Here, Hydro Man monster. And we believe they're all related to each other, okay? And I need you to come with me so we can defeat them. And I love that as he's trying to explain all this, he's constantly being interrupted. Like, Betty comes over, and she's like, babe, you didn't answer my text. And Peter's like, oh, sorry, Betty. Ned just fell asleep. She's like, okay, I'll tell Ned I love him, and then I'll see him tomorrow morning. He's like, I'll tell him that you love him, and you see him tomorrow morning. And then, Martin Stark comes over. He's like, hey, Peter, listen, just want to ask you if you need any, confidant, if you need any, psychological care. Peter's like, no, I'm good. He's like, great, because I'm not qualified for any of that, but hope you're doing okay. And then I think JB Smoove comes over. He's like, it's fucking witches, Peter. It's witches. And fuck Nick Fury's like, I will shoot the next motherfucker that comes through that door, Peter. He's like, okay, I'll come with you. I'll do that. Thank you. Look, the boss of the bidding. I feel like this aspect of the film was a nod to Nick Fury, very much so. Ultimate Spider-Man relationship with the comics. So you guys, which makes sense because, you know, the ultimate Nick Fury is Samuel L. Jackson. They used his likeness for the character. For those that are unfamiliar with that relationship in the comics, like there's this very notable, infamous scene where it's like the first interaction between Spider-Man and Nick Fury. And Nick Fury basically, because he finds out like who Peter is. He's like, I know who you are. Peter's, I think, supposed to be either 15 or 16 in this particular story. And he says, listen, I know you're 15 or you're 16 years old, Peter, but once you turn 18, your ass is mine. And Peter's like, oh, and that's kind of what this is. Hi, babe. Good to see you, Emily. I hope you're doing very well. But they get all suited up, chat, and they go downstairs, and Nick Fury's in a boat, and he's, hey, here, Peter, there's a gift from you from Tony Stark. And, you know, Peter opens it up, and it's this pair of glasses, and it's called Edith. And he's like, well, this is fucking weird. And, you know, Nick Fury's like, yes, how heavy the crown sits on the brow. What's the exact quote? How heavy the crown sits on the brow of a man or whatever. And Nick Fury goes, Stark told me that you wouldn't get that since it wasn't a Star Wars ref. And he's like, that's correct. And so eventually they go into this underground facility, and Nick Fury's like, all right, listen, you can take off your mask. Everyone fucking knows who you are down here, okay? No, you don't need to, you know, to be showing off. And so they go in there, and it's this whole underground facility. We see Nick Fury introduces Peter to everyone. It's like, this is Maria Hill. She's my second in command. Here's Dimitri, who I thought Dimitri was originally going, that's it. Heavily is the head that wears the crown. Thank you, chat. Thank you so much. Shakespeare, well, you know that I don't fucking know that. I only know I'm very much Peter. I wouldn't get it unless it was a Star Wars reference, chat. You know me. But he's starting to point people out like, that's Agent Maria Hill. This is Agent Dimitri. And I thought this was going to be Dimitri the Chameleon, because the Chameleon and Mysterio have worked with each other on a number of occasions. Like, oh, shit, that's Dimitri. But it's not. It's not. He's just another agent. And that is Quentin Beck. Mysterio. I mean, Peter's like, what's he say? Mysterio? And he's like, Mysterio? No, you can just call me Quentin, Peter. And he's like, oh, so good to meet you, sir. You did a great job fighting the Hydra monster. He goes, well, I saw what you did out there, too. Stopping that clock tower. You did good. You kept people away. You kept people safe. Proud of you. And then Quentin, if Nick Fury starts explaining, Quentin Beck, he is a hero from another dimension. And Peter's like, multiverse is real? He goes, and Quentin Beck takes over and he goes, yes, you currently occupy the dimension that is known as 616, which is from the comic shed, Marvel 616. I'm from the dimension 833, where the elementals destroyed my world. He's like, elementals? Oh my God. And Peter's like going on about like, this completely changes our whole perception on quantum theory and everything. He starts going off, and Nick Fury's like, stop with the goddamn nerd talk. And Peter's like, oh, I'm sorry, Nick Fury. But then Quentin comes in. He's like, Peter, never apologize for being the smartest man in the room. Peter's like, thank you, Quentin. Fuck you, Nick. The fuck you say? I'm sorry. And they start talking, and, you know, Quentin Beck, he starts going over the whole, you know, what happened to his planet. And he's like, the elementals are derived from various elements, fire, wind, earth, water. It's like, is this fucking Avatar The Last Airbender? This is nuts. And we see like his Earth, and it's similar to ours, but not exactly ours, which is interesting. And eventually they sucked all the power off from the Earth's core, and they destroyed my world. And one of the last ones that's still around is fire, and he's the most powerful. He completely destroyed it, and he killed my family. Look at my wedding ring, Peter. And he's like, oh, I'm real sorry, Mr. Beck. And Nick Fury's like, and that's why we need you to join us, Peter. I need you, okay? You're the next Tony Stark. You're the next Iron Man. You're a little Iron Boy. We need you. He's like, listen, Mr. Fury, Mr. Beck, I really appreciate all this, but I'm just on summer vacation. He's like, yeah, okay, but you're fucking Spider-Man, all right, with great power. He goes, I'm not going to let you finish that thought because it's probably going to come up in the next movie, but I just want to, like, kiss a girl and stuff. And Nick Fury's like, oh, my God, really? And Nick Fury's like, and Peter's like, well, couldn't you get, like, another person? What about Doctor Strange? He's unavailable. Thor, Offworld. Captain Marvel, he's like, don't invoke her name. Don't invoke her name. Well, sir, I'm just your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He's like, bitch, please, you've been to space. You thought a giant purple genocidal monster abomination, okay? Bitch, please. And he's like, sir, I'm sorry, but I just can't do it. He's like, well, if you don't want to do it, then I guess that's just how it has to be, Peter. He's like, really? He goes, yep. That's just how it has to be. He's like, oh, okay. And he walks away. Sorry, everyone. Sorry, bye. And you're like, yeah, thanks. And Beck's like, see you later, kid. And he's like, okay. And he goes back, Chad. He goes back. And eventually, he also has the glasses as well. And he goes to the hotel room. It's the he falls asleep. Then it's the next morning. Ned's up, and Peter's like, Ned, are you doing okay? He's like, oh yeah, I'm fine, man. I just think it's really fucking cool that I was chloroformed by Nick Fury. That doesn't happen often. And Martin Starr comes out, hey, change of plans, everybody. We're not going to Paris. And they're all going like, wait, what do you mean we're not going to Paris? He's like, actually, we're going to Prague. We're going to Prague, Czechoslovakia. And Peter's like, wait a minute, Prague? And that's the thing, chat. The fire elemental, or Molten Man, as he's called, is supposed to show up in Prague, Czechoslovakia. And he's like, oh, no. And then they're like, hey, we got tickets to this big private black bus. And they go to the bus, and, like, Dimitri's there, and it says Midtown High. He goes, how you doing? And the guy's like, do not talk to me. Do not talk to me. And he's like, okay, don't talk to him. Don't talk to him, class. They go in there, and Peter's like, oh, shit, Ned. I think Nick Fury just hijacked our summer vacation. Ned's like, that's so fucking cool. He's excited about it, chap. I love your little innocent Peter Parker. He's so cute. He's so adorable, Chase. He's like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm excited. So they're all on the bus, chat. And I love that we hear a German version, a German cover of Spider-Man. Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Except it's in German, so it's, Deutsche Borsche Borken Borken Dorken. I was like, oh, it's great. I thought that was great. Borsche Bork, Bordy Bork, Borsche Bordy Bork, Dordy Dork, Borsch Bork, Deutsche Borke Bork, Schnell, Scheiße, and all that stuff. But he's on the bus, Chet. He's on the bus, and eventually, he's still frustrated because Brad and MJ are hanging out with each other, and he's like, God damn it, I wanna be with her right now. This is bullshit. And he sees like Ned and Betty, and they're all hanging out. He's like, God damn it. And eventually the bus stops, and like, all right, guys, bathroom break, let's go. And he exits the bus, and Dimitri stops, and he goes, go in that house over there. And Peter's like, okay, sir. And he goes over in the house, she opens it up, and there is this very attractive blonde German lady, and she's just like standing like this, just chest out, ass out like this. And she's like, come over here. And he's like, oh, okay. And she's like, take off your clothes. And he's like, why? I made this for you. And it's like this, it's a Spider-Man spy outfit, basically, Chet. The Night Monkey outfit. I made Night Monkey outfit for you. And he's like, oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm sure it fits fine. Take off clothes. Right now, do it now. He's like, okay. And he starts taking off his clothes as this lady's like 2 feet taller than him. She's like, my God, she's a goddess, Chad. And as she's taking off her clothes, Brad walks in, and Peter's like, oh, God. And Brad's like, whoa, I'm sorry for interrupting this. And she's like, pulls out her gun about to shoot him. He's like, no, don't shoot him. It's fine. I'll take care of it. He pulls his pants back up. He's like, Brad, listen, I don't know what you think when you saw him there, but it's not what you think. He goes, listen, Peter, if you're, getting your kicks, if you're sleeping with, the locals here in Germany, in Austria, where the fuck we are, that's on you, man. That's you. But I know that you got a thing for MJ, okay? And the first thing that you need to do to have a positive relationship is honesty, Peter. And so I don't like what you're doing right here, man. I took a picture of you, and I'm gonna show her. He's like, no, don't show her, Brad. Please don't do that. He's like, I'm gonna do it, man. I'm gonna fucking do it. And he's like, fuck. And Peter's just so upset. Luke the boss, think of the video. Okay, here's what confused me. Quentin Beck used his real name and looked pretty similar in the flashback scenes to how he looks in this film. How the fuck did he not expect to get discovered? Also, you just ended your German Spider-Man sound with shit. I did. I did. Think of the video. That's a plot hole. You're right. That's a plot hole. I can only imagine that he wiped out his stuff because of his team. Peter Billingsley, Ralphie from Christmas Story helped him. But again, it's just, I'm just doing off the top of my head. I don't know. That is a legitimate plot hole in the movie. There's no explanation for it. I can choose to ignore it because I think Jake Gyllenhaal is doing a really great job in the film as Mysterio. and his chemistry with Tom Holland is really good, and I like that. You know, Nick Fury is bamboozled in the movie. So you're right. It's a flaw, no doubt about it. But Peter's back on the bus, and he's sitting there, and he takes out the glasses, and he puts them on, and he reads the note from Tony, and it's like, hey kid, I'm dead. But I gave you these cool glasses. Just say Edith. And as he says Edith, they turn on, and Edith introduces herself like, oh, hello, Peter. And it's like, oh, you're like Suit Lady Karen. By the way, I do miss Karen, Chad. I do miss Suit Lady Karen. But I understood why they took her away, because they didn't want to be like, well, he's too similar to Iron Man. But I did like Suit Lady from the last movie. And hello, my name is Edith, and I control all the drones in the world. And he's like, well, that's really cool. And she goes, yes, you know what my name is an acronym of? And he goes, no, even dead, I am the hero. That's what it is, referencing Tony. It's like he knew, even though he died, he's like, in case I die, I want to give Peter Parker a weapon satellite that has all sorts of telecommunication powers, and also an army of drones that can take over a country, which I don't think that's the best thing to give to a hormonal 16-year-old. Not your best choice, Tony, among many other bad choices, but that was not very smart. And he's like, well, that's really cool. And it's like, what would you like me to do, Peter? He goes, well, there's this guy named Brad, and he took this picture of me, and I want you to get rid of the picture. You want us to target Brad? And he goes, yeah. And she goes, okay, sending a drone now to kill Brad. And he's like, no, not that. But it's too late, because the giant fucking space satellite has just launched a drone chat at the bus coming to shoot him. And, he's like, oh, God, oh, Jesus, this isn't good. And eventually, he's talking, the glasses like, no, Edith, you got to stop it. He's like, Peter, this can't be stopped. Brad needs to die. It's like, please, Edith, no. And then Flash is like, hey, Peter Parker, those glasses look cool on you. He takes the glasses and he puts them on. And he's like, what do you think? You're some Tony Stark? He's like, Flash, please. But just like, oh, come on, I'm just wearing them. And Peter, accidentally, slaps him a little bit, knocks him the fuck out. He hits him, so he's like, oh. It's like, oh, shit. He could have easily killed him. Eventually takes the glasses back, and he sees the drone coming. It's going to fire at everybody and blow up the bus and kill poor Brad, chap, poor horny Brad. And then everyone's like, Peter, you're going to need to sit down here. He's like, oh, guys, little cute baby mountain goats. They're like, really, where? And he jumps out the fucking moonroof of the van, chat, webs the drone. It goes careening off the fucking edge and explodes. They're like, well, Peter, there were no baby mountain goats. You shouldn't trick us. And he's like, yeah, okay, I'm sorry about that. You missed him. You just fucking missed him. It was too late. And everyone's like, Peter, and he's like, his hair's all askew, and his clothes are, his collar's all popped. Everyone's like, Peter, that look that you have right now, it's really working for you. He's like, thank you, Betty, thank you. And he sits down. Eventually, they finally get to Prague, chat. They get to Prague, and Peter is exhausted, but he knows that he has to go and talk to Nick Fury. And he's like, listen, Ned, I probably should let you know that there is a molten man abomination about to attack Prague. And Ned's like, but Peter, we're in Prague. And he's like, I know that. Well, now you see, now it's not so cool that Nick Fury hijacked our summer vacation now, is it? And he's like, all right, I'll concede that point. He's like, listen, you just need to make sure to keep everyone out of, okay, the streets, because I don't know where this battle is going to be, but, let's stay inside. And then we hear from over at Martin Starr and JB Smoove. He's like, all right, guys, we're all going to go outside and go to this new giant carnival festival that's going on in Prague. It's their, the city's founding. And Peter's like, oh, Jesus. And he's like, Ned, you got to help me here. Okay, listen, I'll come back. I'll let you know, where the battle's going to be, but just hold down the fort for me, Ned. He's like, don't worry, Peter, I got you. Bros for life. He's like, hell yeah, bro. And so Peter, he eventually shows up at the meeting where he is super distracted because he is horny, he is sad, and he doesn't know what's going on. And Nick Fury's like, are you fucking listening to me, Peter? And he goes, yes, sir. And he's like, Beck? He's like, no, sir, I'm not Beck. I'm Mysterio. And he looks at Peter and he winks at him. Peter's like, oh, yeah. And he's like, all right, boys, all right. Listen. As you know, we believe we know what the location of Molten Man's going to be. It's somewhere within the city of Prague. Every time an elemental shows up, it's usually preceded by some, like I think they describe it as some like earthquake activity or something. And so we'll know pretty much the exact location of it. But for now, just remain vigilant. And Peter's like, Mr. Fury, I just want to talk to you for a second because I have a problem, Mr. Fury. You hijacked my summer vacation and you're putting my friends in danger. He's like, bitch, listen to me. You could have agreed early on, okay? I'm trying to save the world. How about you stop being a selfish little shit? And put your dick where you between your legs. Like, stop yelling at me, Mr. Fury. And he swings away. And Beck's like, come on, man. And Peter's sitting up on, he's in his night monkey outfit, and Peter's sitting up there, and he's all sad. And Beck's like, hey, man, listen, Fury, he sent me up here to talk to you because he felt really bad at yelling at you before. And Peter's like, really? He goes, is sarcasm like a real thing in your universe, or is that just where I'm from? And he goes, oh. And he's like, listen to me, kid. And I love this scene. I love that scene. Because he sits right down next to Peter, and he's like, listen, I've been there. Doing this kind of thing is always dangerous, always a struggle. But just, get your friends, make sure that they're in a secure location, get them inside, and we'll take care of this, man, okay? And he's like, all right, I get it. Firewolf, good to see you. Hope you're doing really well. And listen, Peter, I really do appreciate you being a part of this. I know what Fury did was pretty underhanded. And if I had it my way, I wouldn't have done it this way at all. I think you should have the ability to make your own choices, your own decisions. I think that's very important for you. I'm just hope we can do this together, Peter. I do need you. I do need you. Peter's like, oh, well, thank you, Mr. Beck. I'm very happy to be here and happy to help you. He's like, thanks, Peter. Thanks. I'll see you there. And then Peter, he eventually, after that little meeting, he swings back to the hotel because he doesn't know exactly when it's going to happen. But, he's going to I'm going to go warn my friends about this whole situation. And, I think that's the thing. I think it's the thing, Nick Fury, because that's the thing. Peter says, I need to make sure all my friends stay inside a secure location. Fucking Nick Fury's like, all right, I'll take care of it, Jesus. And so Martin Starr's like, hey, guys, we just got all these free tickets to the opera. Everyone's like, the opera is stupid and boring. And because we want to go out to the biggest party in Prague history ever. But then Peter's like, fucking lean into it, Ned, lean into it. It's like, oh, no, I think the opera is going to be really interesting and culturally significant for all of us to experience Czechoslovakian opera. That sounds amazing. Everyone's like, really? He goes, yeah, man, yeah. And Peter's like, I agree with Ned. I agree. And so they all get dressed up and they all go to the opera. And, at one point when they're all walking down and sitting down, MJ goes, oh, hey, Peter. And he's like, oh, hey, MJ. Well, you look really pretty. And she's like, and therefore I have value as a woman. And therefore I'm just going to be, front pooping out babies for you. He goes, what? I'm sorry. She goes, no, I'm joking. I'm messing with you. You look pretty too. And he's like, oh, thanks. She goes, hey, do you want to go in on a pair of seats together? You want to sit together next to each other right to left? She goes, yeah. And then Nick Fury is contacting Peter and he's like, Parker, you ready? He goes, no. And she goes, oh, I mean, okay, I guess that's fine. Whatever you want to do. And he's like, no, I didn't say no to you. I just meant no, we should definitely sit together. Why don't you go get a seat and I'll be right down? She's like, okay, that sounds great. Yeah, nice. And she walks down there, and then Peter, no. He's like, what's up? He's like, listen, fucking keep everyone in the opera. Nick Fury's calling me right now. The Molten Man is about to attack. Can you just make an excuse for me that I'm really sick or something to MJ? And he's like, yeah, okay, Peter, but just please make sure to keep the Molten Man away. And he's like, I will. And Ned goes down there with Betty, and he leans over and he tells MJ the situation. MJ looks really sad. And then Brad, he takes Peter's seat, and he looks at Peter and Peter goes, I hate you, Brad. I hate you. You're my other nemesis. Brad is the ultimate nemesis of Peter Parker, chat. He will be the sixth and final member of the Sinister Six in No Way Home, chat. I think we're going to have a Brad cameo at the end. I think that's what's going to happen. But MJ, she sees Peter leave, and she's like, well, I'm going to go after my man. Did you see how cute his ass looks? And she gets up, and Betty's like, oh, Ned, is she going to the carnival with Peter? Is that what's going on? We should go, too. We should sneak off. And he's like, I don't think that's... She's like, let's go. And she's like, oh, God. And they leave. And so we see Peter. He's up top in this clock tower overlooking the entire fairgrounds while Nick Fury's talking to him. He's like, hey, so how's the suit, kid? He's like, oh, it's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. Little tight around the old web shooter. He's saying that it's like, my dick is so big, Nick Fury. Why'd you make this so tight? I'm not Spider-Woman. And he goes, Parker, pay attention. He's like, sorry. Always thinking about his horniness, Chad. Always thinking about the D. And he's like, Beck, you got an eye on the fairgrounds too? He's like, yes, sir, don't you worry. Peter and I have it. Spider-Man and Mysterio will defeat this monster. He goes, good to hear. Well, we cut to MJ. She's just looking all around the fairgrounds for Peter. And we have Betty and Ned. Ned is just sweating. He's like, oh, Jesus, God. She's like, what's wrong, babe? And he's like, oh, crowds, Betty, I get really nervous. I think we should go inside somewhere or go to the back to the opera. She goes, you know what we can do? I know just the thing. Let's go on the Ferris wheel. Let's go on there. And then he's like, oh, great. And Beck's like, okay, everyone, just a reminder, make sure that Molten Man does not get anywhere near metal. Because if he absorbs metal, he'll become more powerful and he'll be able to feed off the Earth's core and destroy the world. And they're like, wow, that is oddly specific. And he's like, hey, man, I don't write this stuff. Or does he? Thank you, Next Activities. Brad is a total ass, not going to lie. It would be one thing if Peter was dating Angie, but blackmailing him, exposing him just to get her with was not cool at all. Fucking Brad's an asshole, chat. Brad, again, villain, in my opinion. Big time villain. But when MJ, she's like walking around the fairgrounds looking for Peter, and eventually, Chet, the whole ground begins to shake. They got that earthquake, seismic activity. That's what I was looking for, the earthquake activity, seismic activity, and we see this hot molten lava start bubbling up, and she's like, shit, that's lava, and then the fucking Molten Man is born, chat, from the earth itself, and he starts just spraying his magma blasts over all the people, chat, melting them, absorbing metal and shit. Peter's like, the Molten Man's here. And Mysterio's like, I'm on my way, kid. Just hold him off. Whole crowd is scattering all over the place, Shad. He's trying to use his webbing, but every time he uses his webbing, like, it lights it on fire and it goes right at him. He's like, shit. He has to shake it off every time. It's really cool. But he's just trying to just move around. He can't hit this thing. He's like, how am I going to fucking hit a magma man? How am I going to fight something like this? And so he's just trying to keep it away from people, distracting and stuff as it's firing magma balls at him and lava blasts and fire blasts and stuff. Mysterio comes in. He uses his fart magic, just firing at him. Meanwhile, Ned and Betty, they're stuck in the Ferris wheel because, the carny said, fuck you, Americans. I'm getting out of here. He yeeted himself over the edge, chat. And Ned and Betty are like, oh, we need help. And Betty's like, who is that guy? And Ned's like, I don't know. She's like, is that Spider-Man? No, it's not. Definitely not Spider-Man. No, I think that's one of those new heroes, Night Monkey. And she's like, Night Monkey, help us. And he's like, what? What? And he sees Ned and Betty up there. He's like, oh, Jesus Christ. And he's trying to keep the Molten Man away from the Ferris wheel, chap, but he keeps running into more metal and shit. And he keeps getting bigger and bigger to the point where he's like, oh, no. He's reached critical mass, chat. And Mysterio's like, it's too late, Peter. He's going to start absorbing energy from the Earth's core. I know what I need to do. He's like, Beck, what are you talking about? The thing I should have done a long time ago. And he just starts to engulf himself in magic fart gas. And he goes inside of the Molten Man. He's like, oh, and he explodes. He explodes over the place, chat. Also, Peter, while he's fighting, he notices something off in the distance, something near the Ferris wheel. It's like shimmering. He's like, what the fuck is that thing? And he webs it, and he yanks something off of it. He's like, what is that? But he's distracted when the Molten Man explodes, chat. He's like, what's going on? But Peter, he forgets whatever he was just yanking on, chat. You know what he's yanking on. And he goes down there and he sees Beck in this crater. He's like, Beck, Mysterio, sir, Mr. Beck, sir, are you okay? And he pushes him over, chat. And he's like, I'm okay, kid. I'm okay. You did good. Oh, thank God you're okay, Mr. Beck, sir. And then Nick Fury, he rolls on up with Maria Hill and the fellow S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, Shad, and they're fucking victorious, Shad. They beat the final elemental, the Molten Man. Meanwhile, Betty's like, oh my God, thank God for Night Monkey. And Ned, you're so brave, so brave. He's like, yeah, was I really brave? She was. You were, Ned, you were. And you know what? If I hadn't thrown up in my mouth a little bit, I would kiss you right now. He goes, I have a mint. He's like, he wants to have vomit kisses, chat. These kids are so horny. One flaw this environmental has is if you want to absorb Earth's molten core, he's got to go to a volcano. Hey, man. Well, there's a reason why the whole elemental thing is all bullshit, and it's all about absorbing energy from the Earth's core. We'll talk about that. Oh, jeez, Mr. Stark. But we cut back to Spider-Man and Beck and Nick Fury and stuff. And Nick Fury, people are addressing Beck's wounds, and he's sitting up there. Nick Fury goes over to him. He's like, "Listen, Beck, what you did here, what you did today was amazing. Really appreciate you working with S.H.I.E.L.D. on this, man. We are down a number of heroes after the snap, after the war of Thanos, and I could really use you, man. If you can come to Berlin with me, we can talk and make you a member of the Avengers." And Beck's like, "I'm happy to join, sir. Yes, that please. And he's like, "Excellent." He goes over to Peter, and he's like, "Peter, you did good work too, but you didn't want to be here, motherfucker. All right, I had to force your scrawny white ass to join us. And if you hadn't been here, a lot of people would have died. And you were so selfish because you wanted to date some girl. Listen, Peter, Stark saw something in you. He saw something in you, gave you great responsibility, right? But maybe he was wrong." And just walks away. What a fucking mentor. Peter's like, "Oh, Mr. Stark." But then Beck notices this, and he goes over. He's like, "Hey, Peter. Hey, Pete. How you doing, kid?" He goes, "I don't really feel so great, Mr. Beck." And he's like, "You know what? You did good. Let's go get a drink." And then they cut, and it's them in the bar. And he's like, "But, sir, I'm not 21. He just, "We'll get you a lemonade." And they sit down, and Peter's drinking lemonade. Beck's having a beer. And this scene is great. I love this scene. And Peter, he's going on like, "Wow, Mr. Beck, you were really good out there." He's like, "Hey, I wouldn't be able to do it without you. So I really appreciate everything you've done, Peter. Thank you again." And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "But I can tell, I'm looking at you right now, Peter, and I can tell that you're upset. What's going on, man? What do you want? What do you want?" He's like, "I just really want to kiss a girl and tell her that I love her." And he's like, "Yeah, oh yeah, what's her name? And he's like, "Oh, her name is MJ. Her name is MJ Watson. And I had this whole plan. I was gonna buy her this black Dahlia necklace for the murders." He goes, "Yeah, for the murders, because she likes that stuff. And I was going to give her to her in Paris on the Eiffel Tower, and I was going to kiss her, and hopefully she would kiss me back. Didn't really plan that part out yet. And now it's all ruined. Now it's all ruined because of everything that I've been doing, all this superhero stuff." And he goes, "Listen, Peter, being a superhero, a warrior, a figure from another dimension, it's hard. It's hard. I understand that, man. But at the end of the day, if your heart's not in it, then you got to do what you want. You got to do what's best for you." I've lost a lot, and I've been where you've been. And I would give up all of this, all of my magic farts, to be able to see my wife and my kids again, Peter. And you're in a very unique opportunity to be able to do that. And, you should do what your heart is telling you to do. And while he's talking, we see this woman walk by, and she goes, "Excuse me, you dropped these." And it's the glasses. And Mysterio's like, "Are those the glasses that Tony Stark gave you?" He goes, "Yeah, oh, geez, I guess they fell out of my pocket or something." And he goes, "Peter, you should be careful with those. I've heard about them. The Nick Fury is telling me about the satellite and the drone technology." He goes, "Yeah, Mr. Stark decided it was good to give a teenager drones and a drone satellite. Can you believe it?" And he goes, "Hey, man, that's Tony Stark. But that's the thing, Tony Stark." He's like, "Oh, yeah, that's the thing." Mysterio then tells him, "Hey, when you put those on, let me see how you look in those glasses, kid." He's like, "Oh, all right." He puts them on, and Mysterio's like, "You know what, I gotta say, you look like a huge dork. You look like a huge fucking nerd with those glasses on." He's like, "Well, okay, well, you wear them. You wear them, Mr. Beck." He's like, "Nah, Peter, nah, I don't need them." And you're like, "Wait, put them on, Mr. Beck." He's like, "All right, if you insist, I'll put them on, all right." And He puts him on, and he looks very similar to Robert Downey Jr. He's like, what do you think, kid? And he's like, what do I think? What do I think? Who the next Iron Man should be. He's like, what are you saying? He's like, when Mr. Stark gave me those glasses, he had a note. And he says, give these to the next Iron Man. And I don't think I'm the next Iron Man. I think you're the next Iron Man, Mr. Beck. He goes, Peter, what are you talking about? No, Peter, no, these are yours. Tony gave them to you. He goes, no, he told me to give them to the next Iron Man. And I think that's who you are. And he takes them and he's like, Edith, I want to give total control of the space satellite and the army of drones to Quentin Beck, a.k.a. Mysterio. And she goes like, are you sure? And he's like, yup, it's the best decision I ever made. He's like, okay. And then he's like, here you go, Mr. Beck. You now control a super advanced telecommunications satellite of an army of drones. And he's like, well, Peter, these are in really good hands. I appreciate it. He goes, and he's like, hey, you know what, man? You know what you do right now, Peter? Why don't you go ahead and visit MJ? Tell her how you feel, man. Get that ideal summer vacation you've always wanted. And he goes, really, Mr. Beck? He goes, yeah, Peter, go ahead and do it. He's like, okay, well, welcome to the Avengers, sir. Happy to be a part of the Avengers, Peter. I'll see you next time. He goes, yeah, I guess I'll see you later. Bye. And he leaves, chat, and we see everything in the bar starts to glow and shimmer, and certain people that were there, they were illusions, chat. They were holograms, and everyone else at the bar kind of starts awkwardly moving towards Mysterio, and he's just sitting there, and he's just looking, and he goes, see? That was easy. Now someone get me out of this stupid outfit. He bamboozled him, chat. And while Peter is just fucking walking back to the hotel, now Quentin Beck's like, guys, this is an incredible moment. This is an incredible moment. They're like, speech. And they all have fucking drinks. And he's like, all right, okay, we got a lot of work to do. But okay, let's go ahead. I'll do a speech. Here. First, let's go ahead and raise our glasses to our former dead employer, Tony Stark. See, Stark, he believed my technology had no future, but we proved him wrong, didn't we? And we cut back to 2016, Captain America Civil War, where we have that scene where young Tony is interacting with his parents, chat, and it's like, oh my God, because that was Mysterio's, that was Quentin Beck's illusion tech, which Tony went on about how, he was saying like, yeah, so I spent like a couple $1 billion on this stuff, and it's kind of shitty. It's just, just my therapy session, if you will. And it's like that's like a specific name, and it's called BARF. He names the acronym BARF. And Mysterio's like, he named my life's work BARF. BARF! And when I went to him and I told him all the applications of my BARF technology, he looked at me and said that I was unstable and fired me. Me! Unstable! And everyone's like, whoa. Missed some bits, but also, thank you. He's much like McGregor in the comic book. He is very much so. Barf! Yeah, he named his, I forget what the technology is called. Let me look it up really quick. Oh, God. It is fucking hilarious. Oh, Jesus. Let's see here. Barf. Oh, I don't think I have it. I don't have it yet, but yeah, whatever his bioluminescent after reductive, effects or something. It's called BARF, which is hilarious, chat. But thank you, Darkseid, for the 2 biddies. I wouldn't give some dude I barely met drones that can wipe out a city. Hey, Peter, again, he's not the sharpest tool in the shed, if you will. Not the brightest bulb in the pack, chat. He's naive. He's a spider boy, not a Spider-Man. But he's like to Tony fucking Stark, our former employer. And then he starts pointing at certain people, chat, and he's like to fucking Ralphie Parker from Christmas Story. And we cut to Peter Billingsley, chat. And we seems like, you look familiar. And then we cut to Iron Man 1, chat, where he was being yelled at by Obadiah Stane. Tony Stark built us in a cave with a bunch of scraps. And it's like, because of you, Ralphie, and your drone technology, we've been able to create all of these illusions and holograms around Europe. And he's like, thank you, brother. And also to fucking Guterman, the Gootster. And he's like, Guterman, because of you and your fan fiction and your idea for an interdimensional warrior who fights monsters, that was so convincing, especially right now. Who would have thought, Guterman, to the Gootster, everyone's like happy, and to fucking Mary with your seismic activator technology causing like all these disturbances around the planet. So easy. You can fucking pack in a suitcase. Fucking Mary. And Janice, who found out that Tony Stark, our former alcoholic playboy employer, did not hand over an advanced attack satellite with drone and telecommunication capabilities. He didn't hand it over to us, didn't hand it over to the Defense Department. No, he handed it over to a hormonal teenager. But now it's in our possession. Woo, Mysterio! And also to Peter Parker, who made all of this possible. To you, Peter, thank you. Appreciate you. Drinks his drink, throws on the ground. All right, guys, let's get to fucking work. God damn it. Great job, Ralphie. Great job, Ralphie. Oh, there it is, gentlemen. Binarily augmented retroframing. That's what it is. Also known as BARF. Horny-ass teen with drone strikes. Can you believe it? But Peter, he's unaware of this whole thing that's going on, Chad. And he goes back to the hotel, and everyone is, like, fucking freaking out. He's like, what's going on? And Ned's like, Peter, what are you talking about? There's fucking monsters popping up everywhere we go. There's Hydra Man, Molten Mans, and shit. But he's like, it's okay, fucking Ned. I dealt with it. The elementals are destroyed. He's like, oh, that's great. But I mean, we're still leaving at this point. Martin Starr, he walks out. He's like, yeah, we're all going. We're going to get on a plane flight as soon as possible, okay? We got to get the hell out of here. And Peter's like, oh, man, but the vacation and MJ, oh. And then MJ, she's behind him. She opens the door. She's like, oh, hey, Peter. He goes, oh, hi, MJ. Sorry about earlier and everything. You know, the Molten Man showed up, and it was really scary. She goes, oh, yeah, it's okay. I'm just packing. He goes, yeah, I'm gonna go pack too. And she like closed the door. He's like, you look pretty. Oh shit. She closed the door. He's like, God damn it. But he's like, you know what? I'm gonna knock on her door. I'm gonna ask her something. But as soon as he's about to knock, she opens the door because she was thinking the same thing. She's like, oh, hey, Pete. She goes, hi. Listen. I don't know if I know you said you're busy packing. I guess we're leaving soon. But I mean, this is our last time we're ever gonna be like in Prague, right? So I wanted to ask you if you wanted to like go out with me, like to see Prague. She's like, all of Prague? He goes, sure. She's like, you know what? Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that right now. I was like, okay, I'll be down in the lobby. She's like, right, I'm gonna, do lady things. And he's like, oh, okay. And he waits down in the lobby, chat. And eventually she goes down. She's like, hey. He's like, hey, so where do you want to go? He's like, does it matter? I guess not. And so they start walking everything outside, and they're going back and forth, and we see that they're awkward with their hands, like their hands are kind of nudging each other, but they're not grabbing, not holding hands quite yet, chat, not quite yet. And eventually he's like, listen, MJ, I just wanted to tell you something. She's like, you're Spider-Man. He's like, what? Huh? She's like, you're Spider-Man. No, I'm not Spider-Man. No. She goes, yeah, that's why you're leaving all the time. Like, you've always been going, and you and Spider-Man never been in the same location. Like, I remember DC when you weren't there, and yet you show up at the Washington Monument, and you save our classmates, and you're like knowing our names. He's like, no. And then like here now, I mean, Spider-Man's here, like in Europe suddenly, fighting monsters with a guy with a fishbowl head. Yeah, you're Spider-Man's like, MJ, I'm not Spider-Man. I'm not Spider-Man. Not at all. And she's like, oh yeah, you don't think so? She's like, no. And he's like, well, I found this. Oh, that's the thing too. When they're at the battle, she picked up the part that fell off one of the droney drones, chat. She says, I found this thing. It's all covered in webs. And he's like, well, that wasn't me. That was the Night Monkey. She's like, the Night Monkey? Yeah, it's new hero. I guess he uses webs too. Spider-Man didn't patent it, I suppose. She goes, okay, all right. And he goes, wait a minute. Just a question. She's like, yeah, shoot. Were you just like interested in me because you thought I was Spider-Man? She goes, or you were just watching me because you thought I was Spider-Man? She goes, yeah, I mean, why else would I be watching you? And he's like, no
reason.
And they're just about to walk back, but then, oh shit, she accidentally drops the thing, suddenly like clicks on, and boom, what shoots out of the little projector is this giant cloud monster going like, what the hell was that thing? And the Spider-Man's like, wait a minute. And he nudges it, or Peter nudges it, and boom, it comes back on. And they're like, who would need a projector for the elemental monster? And then we see Mysterio come in the frame, Chad, battling this thing. And they're like, Mysterio's like, and Spider-Man's like, oh, shit. Mysterio uses the drones. Oh my God, I've made a big mistake. I'm Spider-Man. MJ, I'm Spider-Man. She's like, you are? She goes, yeah, I'm Spider-Man. She's like, oh, well, I was like 67% sure you really were Spider-Man, so you're not like messing with me? She's like, no, I'm Spider-Man, and I have possibly given a sociopathic maniac very advanced drone technology that can literally level a country. She's like, well, that was stupid. He's like, I didn't know. I'm horny, MJ. And it's like, we gotta go. And so they run back to the hotel, chat. Meanwhile, we are with Quentin Beck and his crew, and they're performing their next little feat, chat, their next little con, if you will. And we see Beck, he's fighting this giant cloud monster, and it's like, all right. And then Beck's like, Ralphie, Mr. Parker. He goes, yeah, what's up? Yeah, what's up, man? He's like, listen, can you get to the end? Can you fast forward to the end? He's like, yeah, sure, okay. And he plays it all the way to the end. And he's like, I'm not in love with this choreography, but you know, it's pretty good. He's like, you know what? I know what we need to do. And it's so weird because they also have like catering there too. They have like a caterer there and like cheese plates and like wine and stuff. Like, I love that he's all about like his crew and preparing his next scheme. It's so much fun. They're all eating cheese and crackers while they're preparing his next act, if you will. And he's like, you know what? Turn the drones on, kill the illusion, and set up the drones for live weapon fire. He's like, you want live weapon fire? He's like, yeah, double up the damage too. He's like, okay. And then they have the whole scene go on. It's like destroys a whole bunch of like walls and pillars, and he's like, boom, and it like explodes and shit. He's like, now that's what I'm talking about. There you go. People are like, woo, that's fucking awesome, Mysterio. And it's like, yes. And we need to make sure that this next big act in London is going to be our best and biggest, okay? Because as we know, like, listen, yes, there's going to be a lot of casualties, and that's a sacrifice that we're willing to make, okay? Because we got to have Avenger-level threats, right? We got to sell this. We got to sell this to everyone so we can become filthy fucking rich, all right? And so when I greet and we see, like, his CGI suit, like, go on top, because he's wearing, like, a green screen suit, which is so interesting to me. He's got his big fucking dumb fishbowl head on and his green screen suit. And I love that. And then his CGI suit like goes on top of him. And he's like, once I defeat the God Elemental, I will bask in the adulation of the crown. And also, Janine, will you have my practical suit ready? She goes, yes, but the cape creases are still coming back. He's like, we got to work on that. We need the steamer. Do we have a bigger steamer? The one we brought isn't that good. And then when he's like, and it'll be amazing though, but then he notices like his hand is coming out of the suit. He's like, whoa. What's going on with this? Why is my hand shimmering? And Ralphie's like, it's no big deal. One of the drones lost a projector, but we can just replace it with another drone later on. I get that one fixed. He's like, what do you mean? What happened to the projector? I think it fell off during the battle or something. Are you saying that a part of one of our drones fell off during the battle? He goes, yeah, but it's no big deal. No, fuck, Ralphie. It is a big deal. Okay? That drone is evidence. That part is evidence, all right? I am trying to fool 7 billion people and Nick Fury, the most dangerous and paranoid man on the planet. I'm trying to prevent him from putting a fucking bullet in my head so I can then possibly kill him later and take over S.H.I.E.L.D., all right? So I don't need any of you making mistakes, and I'm the only one who's fucking professional right now. And then he's like, I mean, would you guys want a bullet to the head? Would anyone here want a bullet to the head? And then he activates the drones. All the drones start like scanning the people, and like they have laser pointers. Everyone's like, whoa. And he points like the 2 drones like, Ralphie, I'm talking to you right now. And like Ralphie's like, yeah, Quentin. He's like, find the drone, find that part. I want to know where that fucking is. And he's like, okay, uploading Edith to your helmet. And he's like, Edith? He's like, yes, Mr. Beck. Yeah, hey, Edith, baby, it's good to hear your voice. Listen, I'm going to need like a level 6 search on that projector part from one of our drones. She's like, doing that right now, Mr. Beck. And eventually she finds it, the location of it, and all the cameras around Prague. And it picks up the video feed. And he sees Peter Parker and MJ with the part on the bridge. And he's like, shit. And he sees it play the illusion, and they're running back to the hotel. And he's like, I'm going to need the next location for Peter's trip. We got to access those files. We got to make sure to divert their planes. Also, Ralphie, I just want to let you know that Peter Parker's blood is on your fucking hands, because I got to go kill this kid and his entire class. God damn it. What I do for show business. And I love it. You want your eye shot out, Ralphie? You would have killed Ralphie, Chad. Oh, my Lord. Here's what's confused me. Is Quentin Beck his real name? Yes. They had Quentin. It might be his alias. Actually, I don't know if they say what his real name is in Civil War. This could be a whole fake persona. His name might not actually be Quentin Beck, Chad, his real name. This could just be a whole facade. Again, it'll be a perfect part of it. So who knows what Mysterio's real name truly was. But at this point, Peter, he goes back to the hotel because he realizes that this whole thing's a trap. He's got to contact Nick Fury. He knows Quentin Beck is going to be in Berlin, Germany. That's where the meeting's going to be. And he's scared that Mysterio is going to kill Nick Fury. So him and MJ are in the hotel room. He's like, listen, MJ, I got to get in my spider gear. And he like starts stripping. She's like, oh, yeah. He's like, don't look at me. She's like, okay. She turns around, but she's looking at that spider boy ass, Chad. You know what she wants. Ned walks in, and like Peter's in the Night Monkey outfit. He goes, oh, Peter, that's a great Night Monkey cosplay. And he's like, Ned, it's okay. I told her who I am. And she's like, oh, I mean, that's cool. But he told me first, MJ. And he's like, listen, you guys stay safe. I need to stop Mysterio, okay? He has an army of drones and a giant fucking satellite that can launch World War III. I'll be right back. And they're like, okay, cool. And so he fucking swings off, Chad. He swings off. And he gets to Berlin as fast as his little spider boy boots can take him, Chad. It shows up in Germany as the Night Monkey. And he's like, excuse me, ma'am, can I borrow your phone? I got to talk to Nick Fury. She's like, get away from me, Night Monkey. And she hits him. Eventually, though, fucking Nick Fury rolls up in a big black car. And he's like, get in, Peter. And he gets in there. He's like, sir, listen, I'm sorry, but I believe that Mysterio is actually trying to kill you. I think it's a whole facade. He's actually a liar, manipulator, and he was really mean to me. And he's like, I believe you, Peter, but we got to go ahead and get back to base and talk about this. And he's like, okay, sir. And so they go into the SHIELD location, the SHIELD building. And he's like, okay, Peter, tell me everything that you possibly know. Tell me and Maria. And he starts going to this chat, but then, they start hearing people getting got. And all of a sudden, chat, boom, fucking Maria Hill, her head explodes. Someone shoots Maria Hill's head off, Chad. It goes clean off. And Peter's like, oh! And Nick Fury's like, oh, God. And he's shot, Nick Fury shot. And then all these drones start coming in, Chad. And we get one of the best action sequences yet in a Spider-Man film. One of Mysterio's illusions. And then Peter at first, he's thrusted into this, what looks like a parking lot area, and Beck is like, Peter, listen, I am so sorry that I have to do this to you. I didn't want this to turn out this way, believe me. He's like, you're a criminal, Mr. Beck, you lied to me. He's like, yeah, that's true. And we get this wonderful segment where Peter is, like, he's in the Night Monkey outfit. But then he's thrusted into like a school, and we see like Mysterio like walking down these lockers, and they're all like opening and shutting really loud and stuff. He's like, you're just a scared little kid, Peter. And he transforms out of the Night Monkey outfit into his Spider-Man outfit. And he starts running around, and suddenly he's transported on top of the Eiffel Tower. And he's like, you don't even know what you want, Peter. He's like, I know this isn't real, Beck. And then MJ's there. She's like, Peter, what's going on? I'm really scared. MJ, it's okay. Wait, you're not MJ. And he's like, you're lying to me, Beck. He's like, am I lying, Peter? Am I? And he grabs her and he throws her off the Eiffel Tower. Peter's like, no! And he goes after her, then boom, he hits a fucking car, and he's in reality again. He's in the Night Monkey outfit again. But then the drones come swarming out, and she's like, oh! They start the to project the delusion again. It's like, all you are, Peter, all you are is a scared little boy in a sweatsuit. And he starts like looking at these mirrors that are in front of him, and he pokes the mirror, and then Spider-Man comes out, and they're dragging him, and all these other Spider-Men are on top of him, they're beating the shit out of him, and he's like, bah! And he throws him off him. He's in his classic like outfit and the hoodie and things. And he's like, if you were only stronger, Peter, maybe you could have saved Tony Stark. And he's at the grave of Tony Stark, and he's looking, he's like, oh, God, Tony. And then, pow, zombie Iron Man starts coming out of the grave, chat, coming for him, raises himself up, starts blasting Peter. He's blasted into another reality, chat. We're now in Queens. Mysterio just fucking giant Mysterio fist punches him through a fucking building. He lands like on this snowy snowbank, chat, and all these buildings begin to shoot out and things. And Mysterio's like, I fucking control reality, Peter. I am reality. Mysterio is the truth, and I control the truth. And we see the fallen statues of Black Widow and Captain America and Iron Man. I will be a hero for a new age. You could have been with me, Peter. You could have had it all. You just had to fuck with me to ruin it. And then Peter ends up trapped in a giant snow globe, and it's in some of the snow globe is Mysterio's head, and then the head becomes Spider Eyes, and then it becomes an army of Mysterios. It's like, I will rule it all, Peter. Bang! And he gets shot, and we cut back to reality, and Nick Fury comes walking up, just like, oh, I don't feel good. And Mysterio's down on the ground holding his gut. Oh, he shot me. He fucking shot me. And it's like, Nick Fury's like, you did good, Peter, you did good. I never believed that son of a bitch for a second. But you need to tell me, who else did you tell about Mysterio? Who else did you tell? He's like, I don't really remember. So you need to tell me now, Peter. It's fucking paramount, motherfucker. It is imperative. It is important that you tell me. He's like, I told Ned, and then I also told MJ, but Ned also might have told Betty Brant. And then Nick Fury goes, why are we laughing, Mr. Fury? He's like, because you are so gullible. He's like, huh? He's like, I mean, you're smart as a whip. I mean, you know your maths, Peter, but you're just a sucker. And fucking Nick Fury turns into Jake Gyllenhaal, chat. Jake Gyllenhaal was in blackface the whole time. He was Nick Fury. And it's like, Peter, and now your friends all have to die. And he starts projecting a new illusion on him, and all this debris is like crashing on him. And Peter's like trying to avoid it, and he's falling back. He's all freaked out. And it's a shame, too. I didn't want to have to kill those kids. But, hey, I got to maintain the illusion, man. I'm going to be a hero for a new age. And you and your friends and your family, they're in my way. But now, you won't be. And all of a sudden, Peter's like, huh? And a fucking bullet train, boom, smacks him, chat. Smacks him like a spider on a windshield. And he's like, Edith, can you get me the trajectory? Oh, actually, can you get the trajectory of their flight, when they're going to land, and also provide them with some free tickets for a tour of London. They're going to love the sights. Eventually, Peter, he comes to. He makes his way inside the train, and he is all beat up, Chet. He's bleeding. He's got internal bleeding, coughing up blood, sits himself down in a chair, just like, ugh, and he passes out. Eventually, he wakes up in a prison in Holland, chat, with some of the nicest prisoners, and he's like, oh, and they're like, oh, how you doing? Yeah, Borsky Bork. Bork, how you doing, Bork? And he's like, I'm okay. Where am I? You're in prison, Bork. And he's like, oh, you guys are really nice. Thank you, Bork. And he's like, I need to use a phone. Is the guard here? He goes, oh, Bork, no. Bork, he's apparently he's getting a call, Bork. His wife's pregnant, Bork. Really? He goes, yeah, it's really nice, Bork. And he's like, well, I got to get out of here. And so he fucking rips the lock off the door. And he just walks out, like his suit is off completely, and he notices that the security guard, it has the Night Monkey mask on, and he's like talking to the phone. He goes, yeah, Bork, Night Monkey, yeah. And eventually he leaves, and he's just out in this bazaar in Holland, and he goes to this one farmer who's just there. He's selling his wares. He's like, excuse me, sir, could I borrow your phone? He's like, Bork, sure. Gives him the phone, gives him the Borkin phone, chat, and he calls somebody. He goes, hi, listen, I really need your help right now. Danger Monk, thank you so much for subscribing. Appreciate that. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing very well. 15 months, a year, and some change of some port. Hope you're doing well, good sir. Currently in the middle of my review of Spider-Man Far From Home. It's very fun. Mysterio has bamboozled Peter, but Peter is getting some help from some very friendly Dutchmen. And so he calls on the phone, and he's like, where am I? Where am I, sir? Borkshire-Borkenda. Borkshire-Bork. Can you just say on the phone? Yeah, hello. Borkshire-Borkenda. And then we find out who was on the phone, and we see Peter. He's walking through a field of, like, multicolored lilies, and we see this huge fucking jet come down. Happy walks out, and he goes, hey, Peter's like, Happy, is that you? Is that really you? And he goes, yeah. He's like, don't come any closer, don't touch me. He's like, Peter, what's going on? Tell me something only the Happy would know. And he's like, I know that when we went on that mission to Germany, that we had the hotel room, and I noticed that on the bill you had bought an adult film, and even though it didn't say it was an adult film, it was very pricey. It was very pricey. And he goes, okay, you can stop talking. And he walks up to him and he hugs him. He's like, I'm so happy to see you. And he's like, what's happened, buddy? And they go on the plane, and Happy's trying to like sew him up, stitch him up. And he goes, ow. And he's like, you have fucking super strength. And he's like, it still hurts though, Happy. He's like, all right, I'm almost done. He's like, ow. Like, Peter, come on. He's like, don't touch me. Don't tell me everything's going to be okay, Happy. I fucking gave an advanced Stark Tech drones and a giant satellite to an actor, to a sociopathic actor. I made horrible decisions. And Happy's like, I get that. He's like, everyone wants me to be him. You know, I miss him so much, Happy. But I don't know if I could be him. He's like, I miss him too, kid. I miss him too. Listen. You're not going to be the next Iron Man, okay? No one's going to be the next Iron Man, all right? No one can live up to him. The thing is, he was a fucking wreck, Peter. He was an alcoholic. He second-guessed every decision he ever made, okay? You're not Iron Man. You're never going to be him. You got to be you. You have to make your own decisions. What's Spider-Man going to do, Peter? And he's like, I'm going to kick the bad guy's ass. Other than that, he's like, he's clearly tracking over phones using Edith right now. And so, Happy, can I have your phone? I have a way to find my friends. Because he Flash Thompson, he's an Instagram star, and he can go on Flash Thompson's Instagram and find out where they are right now. And he's like, okay, I can give you my phone. He's like, oh, Happy, what's your password? No, what's your password? He's like, my password is the word password. He's like, you're the head of security of Stark Enterprises. He goes, I'm ashamed of it too, Peter. We're all flawed people. It's like, no wonder this happens all the time. And he puts it in there, and he finds out that they're in London, and that they're going to be doing the London Tower Bridge tour. And he's like, okay, cool. So that's where all my friends are going to be. So we're just going to head over there right now. And Happy's like, cool. We have the fucking wings to get you over there. We can get you over there in like a half hour. No problem. And he's like, you got a suit? He's like, no, I don't. He's like, don't worry. I got that for you. And he goes in the back, hits a button, and we see this whole part of the plane open. And it's this place where they can build Iron Man suits, but also Spider-Man suits. And Peter goes over there, and he starts fucking pressing buttons and stuff. And all of a sudden, like, the machine starts talking. He's like, what would you like, sir? He's like, please bring up all the details about Spider-Man suits. And it's all these various suits, chat. And he starts moving this around. And Happy's just looking at him, chat, just smiling. And Peter, at one point, he puts his hand through the machine, just like Tony did in the original Iron Man film, like the hologram. And Peter looks at Happy and goes, what? And Happy's like, nothing. You work on your suit. I'll handle the music. And he turns on some fucking music, chat, and it's Bana. It's like, Peter's like, I fucking love Led Zeppelin. And when I was in the theater, everyone laughed, and I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I love Led Zeppelin too. I love it just like Peter does. And so they're flying, Chad, to London. They're flying to London while Peter's making his suit. Meanwhile, we cut to London, and Brad, he's freaking out. He's like, guys, listen. Peter's been acting really weird. All of a sudden, we get this fucking weird excuse that he's visiting family in Germany, even though Parker is very much not a German name, and he slept with that hot blonde German lady, and he's always vanishing all the time. I think he might be Spider-Man. There's something really weird. And MJ's like, you know what, Brad? You know what? I don't like your accusations towards Peter. Why don't you look inward? Why don't you look inward, okay? I mean, you were taking pictures of him in the bathroom? That's just weird. And JB Smooth's like, I'm back in the movie. That is weird, sir. That is definitely weird. Martin Starr's like, you know what, guys? Let's just all relax. Let's just go on this nice, fun little adventure, okay? And we can all enjoy ourselves. Thank you, said the class to Martin Starr. And so Brad's like, oh, everyone's so upset. And JB Smooth's like, listen, man, I'm just going to be a cool teacher to you right now. Taking pictures of students in the bathroom, that's not cool. JB Smoove out. And so they cut, and we see the Gootster. We see Guterman, Chad. He's on the phone with fucking Mysterio. He says, I see the kids that we're all going to murder on the London Bridge. Mysterio's like, fantastic. Can't wait to kill all those kids. Gonna kill a busload of kids. And they board. And the Gootster, the Guterman, Chad, he heads over to the, well, I guess it's not the London Bridge. It's the Tower Bridge. It's the London Bridge, Chad. They head over to the London Bridge. And he drops off the car right there, just parks that shit. Meanwhile, Mysterio, he contacts Nick Fury, goes, Mr. Fury, I believe there is some seismic activity currently occurring in London. I need you on this location. And Nick Fury's like, all right, I guess we'll go over there, along with Maria Hill at that point. They show up there, and then boom, this giant monster, Chad. It's a combination. It's a combination of the fucking Molten Man and the Hydra Man and the Sand Man and the Cloud Man, which we didn't see in the movie, but he's here now. And they're all big, one big thing. And it's like, oh shit, we see where Beck is. And he's on the London Bridge, Chad, and he's in his green screen suit, and he's looking at this shit, because he also says, like, hey, guys, are we making sure there's, like, no Avengers around? So, no Thor, no Captain Marvel. Excellent, fantastic. Black Panther, he's gone good. Excellent. All right, guys. He's like, boom. Now that's an Avengers-level threat. And he's going to kill all these kids. He's going to kill all these people so he can just sell himself to the world, Chad. Finally put Mysterio on the world stage by defeating this giant fucking monster. Meanwhile, Happy, he's flying the plane, and he calls Nick Fury, and he does this little code word thing. He's like, Nick, Tony, he wanted me to call you before he passed away. He wanted me to ask you if this surfboard was yours. The surfboard was yours. Nick Fury's like, don't call me again. And he looks at Maria Hill. He's like, he used the code word. Mysterio's a fucking fraud. She's like, got it. Okay. And so we then, with the trash, well, definitely the trash man. We then cut to Peter, who, he's completed his suit. I love the black and red suit, Chad. The black and red suit looks great on him. And he gets out on the side of the plane, and Happy's like, all right, well, I'll make sure to protect your friends. I'll land down there, and I'll get in the safe. He's like, thanks, Happy. Also, by the way, we really need to talk about you and my Aunt May. You guys are really horny. And he jumps off the fucking plane, Chad, into the giant Mysterio cloud elemental abomination. He's like, it's not real. It's not real. It's not real. And then boom, he goes inside of it, Chad. He goes inside of it, and it's all these drones that are controlling everything. He goes, whoa, this is so cool. I gotta punch stuff. And he starts punching stuff, Chad. Meanwhile, we cut to Ned and Betty and Brad and Flash Thompson and MJ, and they're like, we got to get off the bus. We got to get off the bus now during this whole battle. And they end up on the side, and JB Smooth's like, oh my God, it's like Power Rangers. The elementals are combined into one giant elemental. And Martin Starr's like, it's not Power Rangers, it's Voltron. You're thinking of Voltron. JB Smooth's like, it's this witch shit. It's witches again. I told you. And at this point, MJ's talking to Ned, and he's just like, wait a minute. If Mysterio knows who Peter is, then he knows who we are. We got to get the fuck out of here. We are targets. She's like, yeah, let's go. And so Peter, MJ, Ned, Betty, and Flash, he's like, wait for me, guys. He tails after them at one point. While eventually, Peter, he's destroying the drones. and the illusion starts like breaking apart a little bit, like there starts to be holes, and fucking Mysterio's like, Ralphie, what's going on? The monster, Ralphie, what's going on? The monster is dissolving, and he's like, I'm sure it's just like a flock of birds, maybe hit one of the drones. He's like, give me visual inside the storm, and he sees the visuals, and he sees Spider-Man dismantling the drones, and he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill that kid, and he's like, make sure to kill all of his friends too. He's like, right away, sir. We then cut to Happy, who has landed the plane, and he's like, he runs over to MJ and Ned and Betty and Flash, and he's like, hi, I work with Spider-Man, I'm here to rescue you. And Flash is like, you work for Spider-Man? He's like, I don't work for Spider-Man, I work with Spider-Man, and we gotta go to the plane. And then fucking Mysterio sends all these drones with them, they blow it up, and fucking Happy's like, all right, new plan, we're gonna go to the museum, the Queen's vault is 8 inches thick, girthy thickness, all the steel, it'll protect us from the drones. And they start running while Peter, he starts dismantling more drones, and eventually Mysterio's like, fuck it, Ralphie from Christmas Story, disable the illusion. He's like, how? But if you disable the illusion, they're gonna see the drones. He's like, don't worry, I can spin this. He's like, I don't know how you're gonna spin this, man. And so they shut off all the drones, chat, and Mysterio's like, I want you all to kill that little spider son of a bitch. Go. And they all start firing at Spider, and we get this amazing action sequence where Peter is just going up and down over the London Bridge, chat. He's set on fire. He's web swinging while he's literally on fire, chat. He has to jump in the water and then shoot himself out using his webbing to take out like all of these drones. And meanwhile, he's like, I gotta fucking get to, because he knows where Quentin Beck is. He sees him where he is. He's like within the bridge itself in this canopy area. That's this long glass hallway, but he can't get up there because the entire area is protected by drones. He's like, I gotta somehow get up there, but no matter what I do, I'm gonna get shot. My ass is gonna get shot off. Eventually, we also cut back to MJ and Happy and all those characters. And they run to the museum because Mysterio's like, I gotta kill these fucking kids. Mysterio really loves killing children. And they're hiding in there, and he's using the drones to like try to spot them. MJ, she grabs like a mace, but it's too heavy for her, and she almost drops it. And Mysterio's like, there you are. And Ned and Betty, they push over a suit of armor, and he starts shooting the suit of armor, while MJ, she uses the mace to hit the drone, and it falls on the ground. It starts sputtering and shooting everywhere. Ned, he grabs like a halberd, while fucking Happy, he grabs like an ancient shield, and they go into the Queen's vault, and Happy like goes, ugh! He tries to throw the shield, and it just doesn't go anywhere. He's like, how the fuck does Cap do that? And he closes the door as the drones keep like trying to not cauterize it, but they're trying to laser inside of it, chat. But it's so thick. It's so thick. And they're all panicking. They're all scared. Flash is sad because he's never kissed a girl before. MJ never told the boy she loves how she feels. Ned, he's wasted his life playing video games. And Jon Favreau's like, I would like to confess something. I'm in love with Spider-Man's aunt. She's so hot. And they're like, what? And he goes, I thought we were sharing. Eventually, we cut back to Peter. And he's there. He's like, okay, I am going to have to make myself a sword and shield made out of debris to defeat the drones and get at Mysterio. And so he uses a giant fucking sign and a big concrete pillar and goes, ah! And he starts smashing all the drones, chat, destroying all of them, and eventually uses his webbing to make little web bombs, and he yeets himself all the way up under the Mysterio taint, chat. Boom! Bursts in, chat. I forgot one part. While this is all going on, Mysterio says, Ralphie, project my suit on my body right now. I'm going to record something. And he's like, okay. And then we have the scene where Peter is like, has the sword and the shield, and he yeets himself in the Mysterio taint, bursts up from Mysterio, grabs him, punches his fishbowl helmet. Mysterio fucking's like, Jesus. And he's like, it's over, Beck. It's over. You've lost. And he's like, well, this isn't ideal, but I do have contingencies. And boom, these drones from out of nowhere, they're invisible, shoot Peter. And Mysterio, he goes all the way to the back of the tunnel. Of the glass tunnel. And Peter's like, you gotta fucking give me the glasses back. Oh, you mean these? come and get him, Peter. And then the drones begin to project all of this, the illusion. And Peter's like, I have to rely on my Peter Tingle. That's what will let me know what is actually dangerous and what's just not real. And he closes his eyes and he runs forward and he just starts jumping, taking out all the drones, relying on the tingle, relying on the spider sense. And he's taking out all these drones one by one by one by one by one. And Beck is like, fuck. And he has like these 4 drones next to him. He's like, Edith, why aren't these drones firing? He's like, you're in the blast radius, Beck. He's like, no, fire all the drones, no. And they start firing, chap. And they go out like a little past Beck. But Peter, he's swinging so fast and he's hitting these drones. It spins one of the drones around and goes, and it hits Beck right in the tummy. He's like, and he falls down the ground. And eventually Peter destroys the last drone. He stabs it. And he walks over and he sees Beck in the corner just going, ugh. And he's like, Beck, Mr. Beck, you lied to me. That was like really mean and stuff. And he goes, you're right, Peter. You're right. You're a good person. I'm just so selfish. It's a weakness. You truly do deserve these glasses. You truly deserve them. And then right before, Peter's not even going for them, and he goes, boo! And he grabs something in midair, and a gunshot is heard, and we see that the Beck that on the ground is an illusion, chat, and the Beck that's real tried to shoot Peter in the head with a gun. And he's like, you can't fool me anymore, Mr. Beck. And then fucking Jake Gyllenhaal's like, oh! He falls down the ground. He's all like in the fetal position because he has all bullets inside of his tummy and his peen. And so Peter, he grabs the glasses from Beck and he's like, override, shut down all the drones. And eventually, right before the drones are about to burst into the Queen's Vault and kill Ned and Happy and MJ and Betty and Flash, they all turn off. And they're all like, woohoo, we did it. And they start walking out. And MJ, she yeets herself. She's like, I got to kiss a boy. Because that's very important at this point. Meanwhile, Peter looks down at Beck. And he's like, why did you do this? Why? Why? Oh, thank you, Sensitivities. Ralphie downloads something from Project Insight. Woo. He is now a potential artist. I meant, ooh, I like that. I think it's actually this what's coming up, because I'm going to talk about that scene in just a second. But Peter's like, he's looking down at Beck, and he's like, Mr. Beck, why did you do this? Because people will believe anything. And nowadays, they'll believe me. Ugh. And he dies. And it's like, that was strangely ominous. What do you mean they'll believe anything and they're going to believe you? Okay. Alrighty. But after that, we cut. And Peter, he goes back on the London Bridge, and he's all fucked up. Eventually, MJ, she walks up, and she's like, oh my God, that was like so scary and cool. Also, a big, fat, sweaty guy gave me this, and it was the Black Dahlia necklace that Peter gave to Happy earlier. Give this to her for me. You like, give it to her yourself. He's like, I might die, Happy. And it's all broken now. And he goes, oh no, it's broken. MJ, like, I had this whole thing planned, and it was going to be like really cool, and I was going to like kiss you and stuff on the Eiffel Tower. And she goes, and she kisses him, little smooch. He's like, oh. And they all start kissing, Chad. They start kissing, and they're like, oh, wow, that was really cool. And he's like, yeah. And she's like, I brought the mace in case you need any help. He's like, that would have been helpful. That would help. Yeah, I thought so. I mean, I think I'll call you later. We'll call, we'll talk in a bit. And he's like, yeah, I gotta stay here, and I gotta, like, talk to the police or S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't know what's going on. Oh, I forgot to mention. So I forgot this one thing. Speaking of S.H.I.E.L.D., at one point, Mysterio, he's trying to sell his whole shtick to Fury again, but Fury's not trusting him at this point. And Mysterio's like, Gutterman, I need some new material. What do you got for me? And he's like, just tell him that the elementals are trying to steal more energy than the Earth's core. And he's like, oh, God help us, Nick Fury. God help us, Director Fury. It seems the elemental abomination is absorbing energy from the Earth's core. And Nick Fury kind of looks like at the camera. He turns around. He looks at Maria Hill and he goes, Well, that's a bunch of bullshit. Which is great. And Mysterio planned to kill Nick Fury here, chat, because he had a drone positioned right in front of him. He just didn't see it because it was invisible. And Maria Hill, she has a rocket launcher. Boom. As soon as all the drones are revealed, and shows up right in front of Nick Fury. And he's like, you got me, girl? She's like, I got you. And she blows up the drone, chat. And it's like, nice, nice. Nico, welcome to stream. Hope you're having a very nice evening. Just in the middle of my review for Spider-Man Far From Home. Good to see you. But eventually, speaking of Nick Fury, we cut because Nick Fury and Marie Hill, they walk up to Happy, who is there protecting the kids and stuff. And he's like, you know, that message of yours was pretty obvious. But he's like, it worked. It's like, true. He's like, see, I told you the kid knew what he was doing. He's like, yeah, I guess I can use him for more things, more missions. She's like, no, you leave him alone now. Okay, use him for this one. Let him be a kid. He's like, you can't tell him what to do. He's like, I can tell you what to do, Nick Fury. And he's like, all right then, Happy. All right, fair enough. He tries to spook him. Tries to do the Samuel Jackson spooky face, but it doesn't work on Happy, chat. He's immune to Samuel Jackson's scary face, chat. Eventually, after that, we're back. They arrive home at the in JFK. They get off the plane. MJ and Peter are walking hand in hand now. She's like, I'm going to go and talk to my parents, but I'll date tomorrow. Sound good? And he goes, yeah, that sounds great. I'll pick you up. I'll swing you up. She goes, you're such a fucking dork. He's like, I know. And he goes over to Ned, or he goes over to Ned, and Betty walks up to him. He goes, oh, hey, guys, you know, I thought maybe we can go on like a double date tomorrow. And they're like, oh, Peter, we actually broke up. And he goes, oh, no, really? He goes, we just are wanting different things in this relationship right now, but we appreciate each other's time. And she gives him a little hand pat. It's like, you're a good person. And you're a good person too, Betty. And Peter's like, well, hey, good for you, Ned. He's like, yeah, man, I'm an eligible American bachelor yet again. And eventually Aunt May comes in and she's like, Peter, oh, Peter, I was so concerned for you. Come here, my little boy. And she's like, thank you for packing my suit. I told you the suit would come in handy, Peter. Now come back to the parking. They're about to tow my car. I don't want them to do that. And so they get in the car, Chad. They drive home. And then it's the next day, and we get the epic montage shot of Peter swinging in the city. I mean, he's in his black and red outfit, Chad. It looks so fucking good. It looks wonderful. And he gets a little text from MJ saying, like, I'm on this street corner. And he's texting and swinging at the same time. Sends a little cute little pic. And she's like, don't text and swing at the same time. That's dangerous. And eventually he activates his wingsuit. And he goes, he flies forward, chat, and it's a wonderful segment. It's a wonderful segment. And he lands right in front of MJ, and he's like, "Whoo, hey!" She's like, "Hi." She's like, "You ready? You ready to go?" She's like, "Sure." And we cut to her going, "Ah!" just fucking screaming and screeching. Which is what you would do too. It's like, that's very realistic as they're swinging through the entire city. And at one point he accidentally drops her and she falls. But he catches her, chat. But then, chat, we cut. It's like, oh, and that's Spider-Man Far From Home. It's over. But no, everyone. We then cut. And Peter drops off MJ near a subway. And he's like, all right, that was really fun. Well, I'll see you later. She goes, yeah, definitely. But then we see this breaking news, everyone. J. Jonah Jameson played yet again by J.K. Simmons, chat. He arrives and he is bald. And he has a special Daily Bugle report. And he's very much the Alex Jones of this universe. I thought that's a very inspired take. I like that. And he's like, breaking news, everyone, on the events that transpired in London and Mysterio, who sadly passed away fighting against the elementals. But we have now learned the true person who is behind the death of Mysterio. And it's Peter Parker, the Spider-Man. And Peter's like, oh! And we see this shot of Mysterio is like, you don't understand. It's Spider-Man. He's taking control of the drones. It's the whole setup. He's trying to kill me. And he's like, Spider-Man is Peter Parker. And that's the video he recorded. And I believe that's the thing that Ralphie from Christmas Story took out of the machine and is now given to J. Jonah Jameson in the Daily Bugle. And we cut back to Spider-Man. He goes, holy fuck! And then we cut Far From Home, chat. And that is my scene by scene by scene by scene breakdown to Spider-Man Far From Home. Good movie. I would give it, like Homecoming to me is like a better than sex or like a high full price. This is a full price. This is a full price from me, chat. Has a couple of flaws. I think the first act is like, it's like very hit and miss when it comes to humor. But the second and third act, ooh, that's some good shit right there, chat. Some good shit right there. Ralphie, avenge me! Ralphie avenged him, chat. He avenged him. Also, sorry for missing some biddies. Shout was just in the moment. But thank you, Hardball One, for the 10 biddies. Who else we got here, chat? Person messing with 95 biddies. Appreciate that. What I love about this film is that Spider-Man on film has had a consistent motif theme for sympathetic villains, or try to make them sympathetic, and this movie uses the motif to gut punch you and twist the blade. Yeah, man. Mysterio is just a psychopath. He's a piece of shit. Oh, Lord. Oh yeah, I saw you coming right there. Thank you. Crimson, don't forget the post credits. Oh yes, the post credit scene. I'm sorry. So then we cut. I totally forgot about this because the first post credit scene is like so huge. It's like, oh my god. But we do cut. And it's Nick Fury and Maria Hill in the car, and suddenly they turn into Skrulls, chat, and it's Ben Mendelsohn and his wife, who from Captain Marvel. And they were covering for Nick Fury, who's on vacation at a Skrull spaceship or something. And we cut to Nick Fury, who looks like he's at the beach. But then he gets up and he walks out, and it's this giant, huge mechanical complex. I don't know if it's Kree. I think it's a Skrull ship, I suppose. And I guess this is going to connect to... Oh, he's building sword. Oh, that's right, because S.H.I.E.L.D.'s done, right? So he's building sword right now. Okay, so he must be on the sword satellite then. That's what's happening at the moment. So I forgot that was the sword base. So yeah, it's a sword ship, which we have seen most recently in WandaVision, I want to say. So we saw them there. And that's what that's setting up, Jen. I imagine we'll also see Nick Fury return again in Secret Invasion, dealing more with the Skrulls. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Brightburn, welcome to the stream. It's like being about power. I'm going, oh, that's good, man. No, happy to have you back. Happy to have you back. It's at Swords Base. Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Neato. But I hope you guys enjoyed the review. This is the last of my Spider-Man spoiler reviews, at least the movies, that is, at least for a while. I will be doing a non-spoiler review for Spider-Man No Way Home this upcoming Friday, chat. I'm excited about that. And no spoilers whatsoever. Because I know that movie's just coming out. I know not even might be able to get tickets to see it maybe right away. So I'll do a No Way Home spoiler discussion sometime in the future. We're definitely probably gonna do one on Sunday, I imagine, for the Sunday service. But there you go. KC, Mysterio, Venom, Tombstone, and Hobgoblin. My top fave Spidey villains. As a kid, Mysterio's great. Sword director Abigail Brand was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but they killed her on some bullshit. I don't think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is canon anymore. I think Chameleon is super underrated. RD, there was still is a rumor where Far From Home came out that Mysterio is still alive and he'll show up in No Way Home. I will see. I imagine he'll be mentioned. I'm interested, chat. Talos is very trusting. He's too trusting, chat. And that's gonna get him killed. It's gonna get him killed one day. Yeah. Shield sword, and when does Nick Fury start Pokemon God? I think doesn't like Norman Osborn start like a proto Shield organization called Hammer or something, if I recall correctly. I think like Sword deals with like a lot of like extraterrestrial threats. I think that's what that is. But yeah, thank you, Casfae. Thank you. Great review. I appreciate that. Yeah, I remember saying, "Oh shit," that's a great cliffhanger. That's a super good cliffhanger, and sets up. I imagine Far From Home probably takes place immediately after the events of this movie. Nice. It's a fun film. It's like, yeah, the first act, like, kind of hit and miss with the comedy, but overall, I still think it's great. Like, I would probably give Homecoming like better than Sex, and this is a full price movie. Very enjoyable. Very enjoyable, chat. Yeah, and I think Jake Gyllenhaal knocked it out of the park with Mysterio. I love how just, manipulative he is, how selfish and narcissistic he is. It's like, oh, it makes sense. He's an actor. I get it. Again, I'm glad you guys enjoyed the review, chat. Glad you guys enjoyed the review. But yeah, I'm with you. Homecoming's still my favorite. If I had to rank my top 3 Spider-Man films as of right now, it's Homecoming, Into the Spider-Verse, and then Far From Home. Those are my top 3. But now, my friends, I'm going to take a brief break, and we are going to be jumping into some Halo Infinite shenanigans, chat. So please give me a moment. Entertain yourselves amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. Stick around.